Chapter 3866. Duan Lingtian's primordial body had left, and the temple was empty. Even the array formation protecting the inner sect disciples' cultivation area had been removed, leaving Kuang Tianjing with nothing to show for it. At this moment, Kuang Tianjing only felt extremely depressed and sullen. He had set up a trap and used Ding Yen to lure Duan Lingtian away from the Tianlong clan. This was his way of saving himself. As long as he could kill Duan Lingtian outside, he would no longer need to risk his life to kill Duan Lingtian. He had even planned to leave the Tianlong temple as soon as his first disciple could confirm that the one who left was Duan Lingtian's primordial body and not his doppelganger. As soon as his first disciple sent a message, he would immediately leave the Tianlong temple to help and kill Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was very strong, almost as strong as a lower divine emperor. If it was his primordial body, even his first disciple, Meng Shan, might not be able to kill him in a short time. It's not his primordial body. When Meng Shan sent back the message, Kuang Tianjing knew that the thing he was most unwilling to see had happened. Duan Lingtian's primordial body had not left with Ding Yen, but only his doppelganger. Duan Lingtian's cautiousness made him feel helpless, but at the same time, he also knew that it would be harder to lure Duan Lingtian out than to reach the heavens. Therefore, after a struggle in his heart, he decided to act personally. He would kill Duan Lingtian's primordial body in the inner sect disciples' cultivation area to prevent future trouble. By doing so, he could protect his family. Otherwise, not only would he not be able to escape death, but his family would also be dragged down by him. Where did he go? Kuang Tianjing's expression was ugly. At the same time, he sent a message to Xue Mingji. As the vice-sect leader, Xue Mingji had a deep foundation in the Tianlong clan and had many eyes and ears. After receiving Kuang Tianjing's message, Xue Mingji began to ask around. 15 minutes later, he sent a message to Kuang Tianjing. After Duan Lingtian left the inner sect disciples' cultivation area, he did not go to the Emperor Battle Dimension. He went to the residence of the White Dragon Elder Xue Haichuan. I think your plan has made him feel threatened. Otherwise, he would not have been so cautious. In my opinion, you should have just killed him directly. Why did you have to lure him out with some divine dwelling and divine treasure? You've messed it up, right? As he spoke Xue Mingji's, his tone was reprimand full of reproach. When Kuang Tianjing heard this, he was naturally very unconvinced. His expression was extremely ugly, because he had told Xue Mingji about this plan beforehand. At that time Lingtian and Xue Tian Lingtian he had. However, now that the plan had failed, he was pushing all the blame onto him. Of course, no matter how dissatisfied he was, he could not show it in front of Xue Mingji. He only replied, I will kill him myself. After pausing for a moment, he said, I hope you can give me a chance to kill him. For example, you can lure Xue Haichuan away from the mountain. No one in the Thousand Demon sect can do that. You're the only one who can do it. In the Tianlong clan, the two White Dragon Elders were the best in the Thousand Demon sect. Their status was similar to Xue Haichuan's, but they could not order Xue Haichuan around. Even the Black Dragon Elders, who were on good terms with the two White Dragon Elders of the Thousand Demon sect, could order Xue Haichuan around. However, Xue Haichuan knew that the Black Dragon Elders had a close relationship with the Thousand Demon sect. He would know what to do as soon as Xue Haichuan gave him an order. At that time he could protect Duan Lingtian by his side. Got it. Xue Mingji replied indifferently, then ignored Kuang Tianjing. At this time, Kuang Tianjing was no longer anxious, because he knew that Xue Mingji would try to find a chance for him. After all, Xue Mingji also wanted to get rid of Duan Lingtian. Let's go back and wait for news. Now, I hope that Duan Lingtian can break through to the Divine Emperor realm as soon as possible. At that time it will be difficult for me to kill him. Kuang Tianjing thought to himself, when that time comes, it will be vice-sect leader Xue's headache. In Kuang Tianjing's opinion, as long as he did not leave the Tianlong clan easily, even if Duan Lingtian was not inferior to him, or even stronger than him, he would be safe for the time being. Unless he was stronger than vice-sect leader Xue. Of course, he could not rule out the possibility that vice-sect leader Xue would send him to Duan Lingtian and let him kill him to appease Duan Lingtian's anger and hatred. However, he had already thought it through. When that time came, he would tell Duan Lingtian that Xue Mingji had once threatened him and sent people to kill Linghu Renjie, the former head of the Linghu family. Based on his understanding of Duan Lingtian's character and the friendship between Duan Lingtian and Linghu Renjie, he did not think that the Duan Lingtian would let things go peacefully. When that time came, Xue Mingji and Duan Lingtian would be at odds with each other, and it would be impossible for him to use his death to appease the hatred between them. Perhaps I should have thought this way from the beginning? Since I'm going to die anyway, why don't I take the risk? At this moment, Kuang Tianjing was completely relaxed. Previously, he had thought that he was going to die, but now that he had found a glimmer of hope, he was no longer afraid of going from hell to heaven. Of course, Xuemingji did not know all of this. If he knew, perhaps he would have killed Kuang Tianjing directly to appease the hatred between him and Duan Lingtian. Time flew by like a white steed flitting by a crack. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 years had passed. In these 2 years, Duan Lingtian's cultivation base was getting closer and closer to the God Emperor realm. He had even touched the threshold of the God Emperor realm. The divine power in his body had also shown signs of transformation. However, this slight difference did not change for a long time. This is no longer a problem of bottlenecks. Back then, when I took the Emperor Connection Divine Pill, it meant that there was no bottleneck when I broke through to the God Emperor realm. Now, the reason why it's not going well is because I've either used up all the medicinal power of the divine pill or my body has developed a resistance to it, so it's no longer effective. In an independent courtyard in Shui Haichuan's mansion, Duan Lingtian sat cross-legged in the void and muttered to himself. Whoosh! Almost as soon as Duan Lingtian finished muttering to himself, a surge of space energy stirred in the void and condensed into another, Duan Lingtian. This Duan Lingtian was the avatar of the law of space that Duan Lingtian had condensed again. With the experience of the first avatar, it took less than half the time to condense the avatar of the law of space this time. Moreover, it was condensed when Duan Lingtian was free. It's been so peaceful these past 2 years? It's fine that Kuang Tianjing hasn't made a move, but that Vice Sect Master Shui hasn't made a move either? Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes. Aren't they worried that I'll break through to the God Emperor realm? They should know that once I break through to the God Emperor realm, I'll be able to catch up to an inner sect elder in strength. At that time, only the 2 White Dragon Elders and Vice Sect Master Shui of the 10,000 Demon Sect have the ability to kill me. However, it's good that they haven't made a move. At least they've given me enough space to grow. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Little Tian. Just as Duan Lingtian was lost in thought, a message came from Shui Haichuan. I just received an order from a Black Dragon Elder. He wants me and several other White Dragon Elders to join forces and enter the God Emperor battlefield. Recently, another White Dragon Elder of our Tianlong clan has fallen. Moreover, it's a White Dragon Elder that has a good relationship with our Hidden Fog sect. That Black Dragon Elder is also a Black Dragon Elder that has a good relationship with our Hidden Fog sect. He's following another Vice Sect Master, and that Vice Sect Master has always been hostile to Xuemingji. So, it's impossible that it was Xuemingji who made him give such an order to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Shui Haichuan's words cleared up Duan Lingtian's doubts before Duan Lingtian spoke. Another White Dragon Elder has fallen? Duan Lingtian's complexion turned solemn. This was the second White Dragon Elder of the Tianlong clan that had fallen. But on the Greater One Sect's side, they hadn't lost an elder that was equal in strength to the Tianlong clan's White Dragon Elder. Only 2 ordinary middle-level God Emperors had fallen. In comparison, on the God Sovereign battlefield of the Emperor War Plane, the Tianlong clan's situation was even more perilous than the Greater One Sect's. This time our Hidden Fog sect also supports letting me in, so we shouldn't be able to refuse. Shui Haichuan said. Then what about Brother Haishan? Duan Lingtian thought of Shui Haishan. My big brother broke through to the God King realm 2 months ago and is currently consolidating his cultivation. It's because of this that they let me in. Otherwise they would know that I wouldn't be able to enter. Shui Haichuan said. Brother Haishan broke through to the God King realm? Duan Lingtian's eyes brightened. At the same time he asked, Brother Haichuan, are you planning to let Brother Haishan enter the Emperor War Plane with you? Yes. Shui Haichuan nodded. After entering the Emperor War Plane, even if my big brother doesn't enter the God King battlefield, he won't have to worry about the 10,000 Demon Sect's Lu Yin attacking him. In the Emperor War Plane's Sky Dragon City, the Golden Dragon Elder is overseeing it. Once Lu Yin attacks, he might die before he can kill my big brother. Shui Haichuan's words were filled with confidence in the Golden Dragon Elder overseeing the Emperor War Plane's Sky Dragon City. Will the Golden Dragon Elder be biased towards Lu Yin? Duan Lingtian asked. He won't. Shui Haichuan said, in our Tianlong clan, the Golden Dragon Elders put the clan's interests first. Moreover, they don't have any close relationship with Xuemingji or the 10,000 Demon Sect. To them Shui Haichuan, am much more valuable than Lu Yin. If it weren't for me they might turn a blind eye, but considering me they won't let Lu Yin succeed. Shui Haichuan's tone was filled with confidence. So, Brother Haichuan, the one you're worried about is me? Duan Lingtian asked. Yes. Shui Haichuan replied. That's why I wanted to tell you that you'll enter the Emperor warplane with my big brother and stay in Sky Dragon City for a while. Chapter 3867. Duan Lingtian was naturally grateful that Shui Haichuan was still concerned about his safety at a time like this. However, he still declined Shui Haichuan's offer. Brother Haichuan, I won't be going to the Emperor Battle Realm with you. Shui Haichuan sighed when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Little Tian, I know the heaven and earth spirit chi in the Emperor Battle Realm is thin, and it's almost impossible for you to improve your cultivation base. However, you're not in a good position in the Tianlong clan. If I enter the Emperor Battle Realm, I don't know about the others, but the inner sect elder, Kuang Tianjing, might kill you regardless of the consequences. There's no rush in cultivating. It's not worth risking your life for a momentary improvement. Think about it, how unjust would it be if something were to happen to you? Perhaps you don't feel anything now, but do you really want to wait until Kuang Tianjing appears in front of you and tries to kill you before you regret your decision? There's no medicine for regret in this world. Once you've decided on something, it's like water in a basin that's overturned. It's impossible to take it back. Shui Haichuan was trying his best to persuade Duan Lingtian. Don't worry, Brother Haichuan. Duan Lingtian knew Shui Haichuan had misunderstood. I don't intend to take the risk. The reason I said I won't be going to the Emperor Battle Realm with you is because I've already thought of a backup plan. I'm sure Brother Haichuan knows that I have a friend called Ding Yan. He's revered Elder Sikong's nephew. Before he came here, he told me that if it's inconvenient for you to be here, he can ask revered Elder Sikong to let me cultivate at his place. He told me some time ago that revered Elder Sikong agreed to his request. Therefore, I can go to revered Elder Sikong's place anytime. However, I've been staying at your place for so long that I'm too lazy to move. If you're going to the Emperor Battle Realm, I'll go to his place. Duan Lingtian said. In fact, that was the case. 2 years ago, after Ding Yan returned to the Tianlong Temple, he went to look for his uncle Sikong, the revered Elder Sikong of the Tianlong clan. However, he was in seclusion at that time. A few months ago, Duan Lingtian received a message from Ding Yan saying that he could go to revered Elder Sikong's place at any time. However, since Duan Lingtian was safe in Shui Haichuan's place, he did not think about going there. After all, if he did, it would be another favor to him. I see. After listening to Duan Lingtian's words, Shui Haichuan finally understood. If it's revered Elder Sikong, then I'm relieved. Revered Elder Sikong's strength is a mystery in the sect. However, he was personally invited into the sect by the sect leader. Furthermore, the sect leader gave him the identity token of the Black Dragon Elder as soon as he arrived. This is enough to show that his strength is definitely not inferior to the Black Dragon Elder. I'm sure his place is safer than mine. When Shui Haichuan reached this point, he paused for a moment before continuing. Most importantly, revered Elder Sikong is absolutely neutral in the sect. In the sect, if given the choice, no one would be willing to offend revered Elder Sikong even if it was an ordinary Black Dragon Elder. Shui Haichuan was relieved when he learned that Duan Lingtian was protected by revered Elder Sikong. Half a month later, Shui Haichuan was preparing to enter the Emperor Battle Realm. Before he entered the Emperor Battle Realm, he deliberately looked for Duan Lingtian. Little Tian, I'll send you there. Ding Yan had arrived at Duan Lingtian's place to bring Duan Lingtian to the residence of his uncle Sikong, who was also the Tianlong clan's revered Elder Sikong. However, before Duan Lingtian could leave after bidding farewell to Shui Haichuan took the initiative to look for him. Apart from that, there was another person following Shui Haichuan. It was none other than Shui Haichuan. Half a month ago, Duan Lingtian had met Shui Haichuan when he learned Shui Haichuan had come out of closed-door cultivation. Therefore, he was not surprised by Shui Haichuan's appearance. Brother Haichuan, I asked Ding Yan earlier, and Ding Yan asked revered Elder Sikong. Revered Elder Sikong said you can come with me. Duan Lingtian said to Shui Haichuan, the heaven and earth spirit energy in the Emperor Battle Realm is extremely thin. It's difficult to cultivate there. Shui Haichuan shook his head and smiled when he heard this. Little Tian, I appreciate your kindness. In fact, I don't plan to cultivate in the Emperor Battle Realm. I just want to join in the fun and wander around Heavenly Dragon City and Peace City. I've been cultivating ever since I arrived at the Tianlong clan. It's a good opportunity for me to relax. When Shui Haichuan saw Duan Lingtian was about to say something, he beat him to it and said, Little Tian, I'm not being courteous. I really don't plan to continue cultivating for the time being. If I have a need in the future, I won't be courteous with you. Duan Lingtian did not say anything else when he heard Shui Haichuan's words. Soon after, under Shui Haichuan's escort, Duan Lingtian and Ding Yen arrived at another mountain range in the Tianlong Temple before they entered another mountain range. There were very few people here. Even the number of patrolling disciples of the Tianlong clan was much lesser. They could only see a few people in the distance. Ding Yen seemed to have noticed the confusion in Duan Lingtian's eyes. He explained, Uncle Sikong likes peace and quiet. That's why there aren't many patrolling disciples in this area. Moreover, there's no one living in Uncle Sikong's residence. It's usually empty. Ding Yen had stayed here for a period of time, so he knew the situation here better than Shui Haichuan. Shui Haichuan nodded. It's true that revered Elder Sikong has been living in seclusion ever since he came to the Heavenly Dragon sect. I've only met him once when he first arrived. Shui Haichuan still felt a little dazed when he recalled the scene from that year. He did not know if he had seen wrongly. At that time, he had seen the clan leader of the Tianlong clan look at Elder Sikong with reverence in his eyes. After all, even among the Golden Dragon elders in the sect, only the one who was closest to the sect leader could make the sect leader act this way. Perhaps Elder Sikong is also an elder to the clan leader? Shui Haichuan still thought so, whether it was then or now. Although Elder Sikong looked about the same age as the clan leader, at their level of cultivation, their appearance could no longer match their real age. It's right ahead. Under Ding Yan's lead, Duan Lingtian and the other two also saw layers of faint fog in front of them. It shrouded a quiet valley and looked extremely mysterious. Whoosh! As if a breeze had blown past, the fog outside the valley stirred slightly. Then an old and aged figure appeared in the fog. Then he stepped out of the fog. Elder One. Ding Yen bowed respectfully when he saw the old man walk out. Young Master Ding Yen, I've told you long ago that I'm only the master's servant. You don't have to be so polite. The old man sighed and looked at Ding Yen with a gentle gaze. Ding Yen seemed to be used to the old man's words and did not mind. Elder One, let me introduce you to my friend. Ding Yen looked at Duan Lingtian and said, Elder One, this is Duan Lingtian, a friend I met at Hidden Fog Academy in Tianfeng City. As for the other two, the one on the left is Elder Shui Haichuan, and the other is Elder Shui Haichuan's elder brother, Big Brother Shui Haishan. Ding Yen introduced them. Young Master Duan, Elder Shui Haichuan. The old man smiled as he greeted Duan Lingtian and Shui Haichuan. Then he nodded at Shui Haishan as a form of greeting. Although he did not greet Shui Haishan, it was obvious he valued Shui Haishan. Elder One. Duan Lingtian and the other two responded. The three of you, my family is waiting for you. Please follow me. The old man smiled as he greeted Duan Lingtian, Shui Haichuan, and Shui Haishan. After that, he turned around and led the way. Everywhere he passed, the fog would disperse and open up a path. Moreover, the dispersed fog did not close up for a long time. It was only when Duan Lingtian and the others entered the valley that the fog finally closed up. At this moment, Ding Yan's voice transmission sounded in Duan Lingtian's ears. Duan Lingtian, this elder one has always been by Uncle Sikong's side. Usually when Sikong Yu goes out, he will follow Sikong Yu. Usually he has never left Uncle Sikong's side. He has been by Uncle Sikong's side for many years. Although Sikong Yu has a proud personality, he is extremely respectful to him and respectfully calls him Grandfather One. Because Uncle Sikong thinks highly of me, Elder One has been courteous and respectful to me since the beginning. He has not looked down on me because of my low cultivation. Ding Yan's evaluation of the old man leading the way was extremely high. Duan Lingtian nodded and raised his brows slightly as he looked at the old man's back. He could not see through this old man. He gave him an extremely mysterious feeling. Not to mention Shui Haichuan, he had never felt this feeling from the few black dragon elders that he had come into contact with before. Of course, Duan Lingtian knew in his heart that this did not mean anything. It did not mean that the stronger one was, the more one would give off such a feeling. That was only relatively speaking. There were many people who appeared to be extraordinary and mysterious because of the cultivation method that they cultivated. However, in reality, their strength might not be able to keep up with this mystery. Master, the guests have arrived. In the valley filled with green grass and fragrant flowers, 6 simple courtyards were located in various places. They surrounded the courtyard in the middle like stars surrounding the moon. Now the old man was leading Duan Lingtian and the rest to the front of the central courtyard. He bowed and greeted them inside. Come in. As the courtyard door was suddenly opened, Duan Lingtian and the rest were led into the courtyard by the old man. In an instant, Duan Lingtian only saw a flash before his eyes. The originally spacious courtyard suddenly changed and became even more refreshing and tranquil. Moreover, the flowers and trees inside were even more luxuriant than they were outside. So everything that I saw outside was just an illusion. Only what I saw when I stepped through the courtyard door was real. Duan Lingtian suddenly understood. Chapter 3869. The elegant and tranquil courtyard was like a painting. In the painting, a well-proportioned middle-aged man dressed in a long greenish-brown robe was sitting cross-legged in the air. He was handsome and had a head of long light gray hair. He seemed different from ordinary people. The most eye-catching thing about him was his aquiline nose. It was very recognizable. Master. Uncle Sikong. The old man and Ding Yen bowed at the middle-aged man at almost the same time. After the two of them, Shui Haichuan and Shui Haishan cupped their hands and bowed at the middle-aged man as well. Greetings, revered Elder Sikong. Greetings, Senior Sikong. Duan Lingtian was the last one to return to his senses. He bowed as well. At the same time, a hint of surprise could be seen in his eyes. He had seen Sikong Yu before. However, Sikong Yu seemed to be different from revered Elder Sikong. At the very least, they did not look alike at first glance. However, after Duan Lingtian took a closer look, he finally saw the similarities between the two of them. First it was their lips. Then it was their ears. Both of them were quite similar. However, the features of these two parts were not obvious. It was impossible to tell at first glance. The middle-aged man, revered Elder Sikong Yi of the Tianlong clan, slowly opened his eyes after Duan Lingtian finished speaking. His eyes were different from ordinary people. They were grayish-brown. In Duan Lingtian's previous life's Huanation on Earth, it was more like he was wearing a layer of contact lenses. Elder Shui Haichuan, I've long heard of your name. Sikong Ye's gaze landed on Shui Haichuan as the corners of his mouth curled up into a faint smile. That brat Long Qingchong has often mentioned you in front of me. He feels that compared to the other two White Dragon Elders who are the youngest among the White Dragon Elders, you have a higher chance of entering the God Emperor realm. Sikong Yi was not stingy with his compliments to Shui Haichuan as soon as he opened his mouth. Shui Haichuan was stunned for a moment before he quickly said, Revered Elder Sikong is too kind. Haichuan doesn't deserve such praise. Haichuan knows myself well. It's not that easy to become a God Emperor. Compared to me, you are still a young man. Young people need to be energetic. Don't be like us old people. Sikong Yi shook his head as he stood up and descended from the sky. After landing, he looked straight at Shui Haichuan. The opening of the Emperor Battle Plain this time will provide many whetstones for the God Kings. Will be the same for you. I've heard about you. However, I truly feel that there is no need for you to restrict your own path for the sake of your elder brother. At least, I don't think your elder brother would want that. When he spoke up to hear, Sikong Yi glanced at Shui Haishan. If Shui Haichuan heads to the Emperor Battle Plain in the future, you can come to my place. Of the 6 houses around me, 3 are empty. I'll leave 1 for Duan Lingtian and 1 for you. Sikong Yi said. Thank you, consecrated Sikong. Shui Haishan repeatedly thanked him. Ding Yen, thank you. At this moment, Duan Lingtian also thanked Ding Yen. However, Ding Yen was at a loss. What are you thanking me for? Didn't you ask consecrated Sikong to take Big Brother Haishan in? Asked Duan Lingtian. No. Ding Yen shook his head. Although I mentioned Big Brother Shui Haishan, Uncle Sikong didn't agree to it like he did you. I thought he didn't want to take Big Brother Shui Haishan in. Moreover, based on the current situation, it doesn't seem like he's taking Big Brother Haishan in because of me. It seems more like it's because of Elder Shui Haichuan. When Ding Yen said this, Duan Lingtian recalled the scene from before and faintly felt that this was the case. Thank you, consecrated Sikong. At this moment, Shui Haichuan also thanked Sikong Yi respectfully. Go. Sikong Yi looked at Shui Haichuan and waved his hand. I hope you can reach a higher level in the Emperor Battle Plain this time. Your cultivation needs to be accumulated, but the profundities of laws and other methods can be comprehended in battle. As for Shui Haishan, I suggest that you stay here and cultivate properly for a period of time. Once you've consolidated your cultivation, you can enter the God King battlefield in the Emperor Battle Plain to gain experience. As soon as Sikong Yi said this, Shui Haishan hurriedly replied, Yes, consecrated Sikong. Haichuan, you can go. I'll stay with consecrated Sikong. You don't have to worry about me. Shui Haishan said to Shui Haichuan. Shui Haichuan nodded. Then he bade farewell to Duan Lingtian and Ding Yen before he turned around and left to enter the Emperor Battle Realm. After Shui Haichuan left, Sikong Yi looked at the old man beside him. Old one, make arrangements for Shui Haishan. Yes, master. The old man replied respectfully and then left with Shui Haishan. Before Shui Haishan left, he didn't forget to bid farewell to Duan Lingtian and Ding Yan. For a time, besides Xikong Yi himself, only Duan Lingtian and Ding Yan remained in the courtyard. Duan Lingtian, this is my uncle Xikong, the consecrated elder of the Tianlong clan, Xikong Yi. Ding Yan introduced with a smile. Before Duan Lingtian could speak, Xikong Yi withdrew his doting gaze from Ding Yan and turned to look at Duan Lingtian. He smiled lightly and said, Duan Lingtian, I've heard a lot about you. Thank you for taking care of this nephew of mine in Skywin City's Hidden Mist Academy. Duan Lingtian hurriedly shook his head when he heard this. Consecrated Elder Xikong, you're too courteous. Ding Yan and I are friends and it's normal for friends to help each other. Haha. What a good friend. Xikong Yi smiled while a wisp of recollection flashed in his eyes. It's good to be young. All of you remind me of when I first met Ding Yan's father. So many years have passed in the blink of an eye. It's a pity that his old friend is no longer here, leaving his son behind. A wisp of sadness flashed in Xikong Yi's eyes as he sighed faintly. Duan Lingtian said with a solemn expression, Consecrated Elder Xikong, you're able to treat your old friend's son as your own after he passed away. If his old friend knows about this in the netherworld, he won't regret having a friend like you. Duan Lingtian's words caused Xikong Yi to laugh involuntarily. Little fellow, you really know how to talk. Compared to that blockhead Ding Yan, you're much more interesting. It's no wonder my daughter seems to be interested in you. She even asked me to find that brat Long Qing Chong and ask him to ask you to be that girl's alchemy teacher. Xikong Yi smiled. Ding Yan was stunned by Xikong Yi's words, and a wisp of imperceptible sadness flashed in his eyes. Duan Lingtian was also stunned, and then he said with a bitter smile, In terms of alchemy, I'm actually a dabbler as well. Although I can refine Peking-grade divine pills, it can only be said that I'm sensitive to the vitality and the spirit energy of heaven and earth. In terms of true alchemy standards, not to mention the old sect master, even those divine pill masters in the sect can't be compared to me. Duan Lingtian felt helpless when he finished speaking. Looks like the falling flower has feelings, but the heartless brook has no feelings. Xikong Yi looked deeply at Duan Lingtian and said, Since that's the case, I hope that when my daughter comes into contact with you in the future, Duan Lingtian, you can clearly explain it to her so that she won't have any illusions. That girl's heart is higher than the heavens, and she's never taken a fancy to a man of the same age. It can be said that you're the first man she's taken a fancy to in her thousands of years of life. I heard from Ding Yan that you have many wives and concubines, and you're not a fickle person. You have more experience in this aspect and I believe you know how to refuse her. When Xikong Yi said this, Duan Lingtian looked at Ding Yan immediately and he was speechless. When did I tell this guy that I have many wives and concubines? As for me, I only have 2 wives. I only have 3 confidants who have confirmed relationships with me. How can this be called having many wives and concubines? At the same time, Xikong Yi continued, In return I, Xikong Yi, owe you a favor. You seeking refuge with me is not included in this favor. I'm taking you in because of Ding Yan. 1 is 1, 2 is 2, and I hope you understand. When Xikong Yi said this, his expression turned solemn. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly and said, Revered Elder Xikong, you don't have to be like this. To me it's just a matter of lifting a finger. Duan Lingtian shook his head and said, Revered Elder Xikong, there's no need to owe me a favor. I Xikong Yi am 1 and 2 is 2. Xikong Yi spoke solemnly. As soon as he finished speaking, he didn't wait for Duan Lingtian to say anything before directly looking at Ding Yan and asking Ding Yan to arrange a residence for Duan Lingtian. As soon as he finished speaking, he vanished like a gust of wind and vanished without a trace. Duan Lingtian, let's go. When he saw Duan Lingtian was still in a daze, Ding Yan repeatedly called out to Duan Lingtian. Once Uncle Xikong has decided on something, he never changes his mind. Accept this favor of his. Moreover, if you don't want this favor, then don't look for Uncle Xikong in the future. Of course, if there's really something, I still hope you can look for Uncle Xikong. There are many things that Uncle Xikong is capable of doing. At this point, Ding Yan looked meaningfully at Duan Lingtian and transmitted his voice. Even if you ask Uncle Xikong to kill Vice Sect leader Shui Mingji, he will still do it for you. Moreover, from the moment you speak, Shui Mingji won't live to see the next day. Even if Shui Mingji is holed up in the clan's encampment. Ding Yan's words were something that Duan Lingtian hadn't expected. At the same time, he'd never imagined that Xikong Yi, a revered elder of the Tianlong clan who usually presented himself as a black dragon elder, would actually be so capable. Shui Mingji was the Tianlong clan's vice sect leader, and his status was even higher than that of the Tianlong clan's Black Dragon elders. His status was second only to the clan leader and the Golden Dragon elders. And now, Ding Yan's words made Duan Lingtian's imagination run wild. How close is revered elder Sikong to the clan leader to be able to decide the life and death of a vice sect leader? Or perhaps, he's not ordinary to begin with? Just like that, Duan Lingtian stayed with Tianlong clan's revered elder Sikong Yi and cultivated there. As for the herbs that the Tianlong clan sect leader had helped Duan Lingtian gather, Duan Lingtian didn't personally take them. Instead, he had Ding Yan do it on his behalf, so that those with ulterior motives wouldn't be able to take advantage of the situation. Duan Lingtian naturally didn't know any of this. He didn't even know that Shui Haichuan had received an order to head to the Emperor battle plane. Although the person who'd given the order wasn't Shui Mingji or the myriad demon sex people, Shui Mingji's figure was still present. Chapter 3870. Vice Sect Leader Shui, it's time for you to give me what you promised me. A black-robed figure appeared in the residence of the Tianlong clan's Vice Sect Leader, Shui Mingji, and spoke to Shui Mingji. Shui Mingji's expression was a bit unsightly. Did you do something? Did you remind Shui Haichuan to escort Duan Lingtian to Honorary Elder Sikong? Even to Shui Mingji, the deputy sect leader, Sikong was a mystery. He only knew that Honorary Elder Sikong had been personally invited back by the sect leader, and that the sect leader seemed to have a good relationship with him. Even if he only appeared as an elder of the Black Dragon clan, his strength should only be comparable to an elder of the Black Dragon clan. But even so, if possible, he didn't want to rashly provoke him. After all, he was backed by the sect leader. Vice Sect Leader Shui, do you think there's any point in me doing this? The black-robed figure coldly replied. I've done everything you asked me to do. Now, Vice Sect Leader Shui, you're hesitating again and again. Are you going to go back on your word? As he spoke, the black-robed figure's expression became colder and colder. Shui Mingji coldly snorted and flicked a storage ring. The black-robed figure casually caught it. After verifying its ownership, he let out a satisfied laugh. Thank you, Vice Sect Leader Shui. From today onwards, you and I have nothing to do with each other. The black-robed figure's figure flickered, and he left like the wind. Not long after the black-robed figure left, Shui Mingji sent out a message. Duan Lingtian is currently with Honorary Elder Sikong. I'll have people monitor that place. If Duan Lingtian doesn't have a God King by his side, I'll notify you to go kill him. This message was for the inner sect elder, Kuang Tianjing. I'll be waiting for Vice Sect Leader Shui's good news. Kuang Tianjing's tone was indifferent as he responded with a lack of interest. After replying, his lips curled into a mocking smile. Do you really think that Duan Lingtian is a fool? Judging from the current situation, he obviously intends to wait until he breaks through to the Divine Emperor realm before leaving. With his talent and the fact that he can easily concoct top-level king-level divine pills, he has also taken Emperor-connecting divine pills. I'm afraid it won't even take 100 years for him to break through to the Divine Emperor realm and consolidate his cultivation. In Kuang Tianjing's opinion, once Duan Lingtian broke through to the God King realm, it would be meaningless for him to take action. At that time, he wouldn't have the confidence to kill Duan Lingtian in one blow. And if he couldn't kill in one strike, once he was targeted by the Black Dragon Elder who was patrolling the surroundings, he wouldn't be able to escape death. After Duan Lingtian had stayed with Consecrator Sikong Yi for 2 months, a beautiful figure came looking for him. It was Sikong Ye's daughter, Sikong Yu. Sikong Yu was Sikong Ye's only daughter. Duan Lingtian could feel how much Sikong Yi doted on her when he heard Sikong Ye's promise to him in the past. Duan Lingtian, I didn't expect you to come here. Seeing Duan Lingtian again, Sikong Yu was no longer as domineering as before. Her beautiful eyes flickered with joy. Miss Sikong. Duan Lingtian greeted Sikong Yu with a smile. I'm here because of Ding Yan's help to give me a safe place to stay. It's also because Consecrator Sikong is willing to take me in. Duan Lingtian said. Ding Yan. Sikong Yu slightly raised her eyebrows, then shook her head and said, Duan Lingtian, even if you don't look for Ding Yan, as long as you ask, I can ask my father to let you come here. My father really admires geniuses like you. For example, Elder Shui Haichuan is one of the people he admires. In fact, before you appeared, Elder Shui Haichuan was the person he admired the most in the Tianlong clan. However, your appearance has overshadowed Elder Shui Haichuan. Sikong Yu said. For the time being, I don't dare to compare myself with Brother Haichuan. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled. He then went straight to the point and asked, Miss Sikong, is there anything you need from me? Seeing that Consecrator Sikong has taken me in, as long as it's within my ability, I will definitely not refuse. Duan Ling Tian said. Really? Sikong Yu's eyes flashed with joy. Except for the divine pill. Before Sikong Yu could continue speaking, Duan Ling Tian spoke first. Of course, I'm not trying to hide it. But I want to tell Miss Sikong that my level in the divine pill Dao is actually very ordinary. The reason why I can refine a king-grade divine pill is because I'm naturally sensitive to the life force and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. There's no other reason. In the Tianlong clan, there are plenty of divine pill masters with higher attainments in the divine pill Dao than me. If Miss Sikong really wants to find a good teacher, the old clan leader is a very good choice. I heard that Consecrator Sikong has a good relationship with the clan leader. With the clan leader's help, I'm sure the old clan leader won't be stingy with his guidance. Duan Lingtian's words sealed Sikong Yu's mouth the moment he spoke. Sikong Yu frowned slightly. How did you know that I want to ask you about the divine pill Dao? My father told you. Duan Lingtian remained silent. It seems like father really did tell you. Sikong Yu shook his head and said, Duan Lingtian, I've never dabbled in the divine pill Dao. I just want to find a master who can guide me. I'm not looking for an outstanding teacher. Therefore, I feel that you're more than qualified to be my teacher. Sikong Yu smiled. As Sikong Yu spoke, her eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness, as if everything was under her control. I'm afraid that's still not possible. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. Miss Sikong, I've been busy with my cultivation recently. I'm at the critical juncture of breaking through to the Divine Emperor realm. Therefore, I'm afraid that I won't be able to help you. You should find another teacher. Duan Lingtian tactfully rejected Sikong Yu's request. As for Sikong Yu, after hearing Duan Lingtian's words, her originally excited expression finally turned a little ugly. Duan Lingtian, if you want to reject me, just say it. Why do you need such an excuse? You're at the critical juncture of breaking through to the Divine Emperor realm? How long has it been since you broke through to the Upper God King realm? Even I broke through to the Upper God King realm a long time before you, but I'm still far from that step. You said that you've already reached that step. Do you think that I, Sikong Yu, am that easy to bully? After saying those words, Sikong Yu turned around and left furiously. Miss Sikong. Just as Sikong Yu was about to leave, Duan Lingtian called out to her. Sikong Yu's figure stopped moving. She, who had her back facing Duan Lingtian, thought that Duan Lingtian had gone back on his word, and a wisp of delight appeared on her beautiful face that was originally filled with rage. In an instant, two conflicting emotions flipped. Of course, Duan Lingtian couldn't see it. Is there anything else? Sikong Yu asked. Her tone was much gentler, no longer as overbearing as before. Actually, there's nothing else. Duan Lingtian shrugged his shoulders and said, I just want to tell Miss Sikong that the number of women my heart can accommodate is limited. Now it's already full. I will no longer like or love another woman. If it was at any other time, Duan Lingtian would surely be more tactful. But after Sikong Ye's reminder earlier, Duan Lingtian didn't intend to be tactful. He directly spoke and didn't take Sikong Yu's feelings into consideration in the slightest. As far as he was concerned, cutting the Gordian knot would allow him to better complete Sikong Ye's task. As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, Sikong Yu's body shook. After a short moment, Sikong Yu turned around. At this moment, her beautiful eyes seemed to be covered in a layer of frost. Duan Lingtian, aren't you thinking too highly of yourself? Do you really think that I, Sikong Yu, am pestering you because I like you? You think too highly of yourself. Even if I, Sikong Yu, am lonely until I die, I won't take a fancy to you, Duan Lingtian. As soon as she finished speaking, Sikong Yu soared into the sky and left with a face filled with shame and indignation. Of course, no one could see that in the depths of her eyes, there was a faint trace of pain. But it soon disappeared and was replaced by determination. The feelings that had just sprouted were cut off by her own hands. Many thanks. After Sikong Yu left, a sigh and a voice of gratitude sounded out by Duan Lingtian's ears. It was the voice of Sikong Yu's father, Sikong Yi. I owe you a favor. Sikong Yi said. After Sikong Ye's voice faded, Duan Lingtian bitterly smiled and sighed. I better make the best use of my time and break through to the Divine Emperor realm. Once I break through to the Divine Emperor realm, I won't need to stay here and seek consecrated Elder Sikong's protection anymore. Now that he had shed all pretense of cordiality with Sikong Yu, Duan Lingtian felt awkward and uncomfortable if he continued to stay here and seek Sikong Ye's protection. What Duan Lingtian didn't know was that after he said those harsh words to Sikongyu had left and entered the God King battlefield again. It was as if she was venting something and running away from something. Of course, Duan Lingtian didn't know all of this. After Duan Lingtian obtained the last medicinal ingredient that the Tianlong clan's clan master searched for, he refined a divine pill and continued to cultivate in seclusion. He had completely forgotten about the time while cultivating. Time flew by. Spring left and autumn came. Spring left and autumn came again. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. The fighting in the God King battlefield was getting more and more intense. The fall of God Kings had become the norm. Even the speed and scale of the fall of divine emperors was constantly increasing. Almost everyone's eyes were focused on the God King battlefield. In the God King battlefield, without Duan Lingtian and Greater One Sect's Shimin Longxiang, it had become much fairer. No one was able to gain much of an advantage. Tianlong Temple. Somewhere. Duan Lingtian has already left consecrated Elder Sikong's place of cultivation. He's now heading towards the entrance of the God King battlefield alone. Under the orders of the Tianlong clan's vice-clan master Shui Mingji, the inner sect elder Kuang Tianjing, who had always wanted to enter the God King battlefield but couldn't, received a message from Shui Mingji. Duan Lingtian has come out. Moreover, he's alone. Kuang Tianjing was stunned. Disbelief was written all over his face. This was different from what he had imagined. Duan Lingtian couldn't hold back for 2 years. Chapter 3871. Lord Vice Sect Leader, could this be a trap? Kuang Tianjing asked cautiously through voice transmission. He found it unbelievable. Previously, Duan Lingtian had been extremely cautious. However, now that he had come out on his own, it was as though he was waiting to be killed. Strange. It was too strange. As soon as Kuang Tianjing received Kuang Tianjing's message, Shui Mingji replied, I'm currently near revered Elder Sikong's cultivation place. Apart from Duan Lingtian, no one else has left revered Elder Sikong's cultivation place. Nobody has extended their divine consciousness to track Duan Lingtian. Moreover, the Black Dragon Elder on duty today is my junior brother. If you make a move on Duan Lingtian now, even if you can't kill him with one strike, I can buy you some time. You only have 3 breaths to kill him. Shui Mingji paused for a moment before he added, I know what you're worried about. Although I find it strange as well, it's true that Duan Lingtian has come out. Perhaps he's bored at revered Elder Sikong's place and wants to join in the fun in the Emperor Battle Realm. Although he can't enter the God King's battlefield now, he can still wander around Heavenly Dragon City and Peace City. Don't waste any more time. At most, he'll leave the area my junior brother is in charge of in a dozen breaths. If you miss this opportunity and still can't kill him, Kuang Tianjing, you'll definitely die. Toward the end of his speech, Shui Mingji's voice became increasingly cold. Vice Sect Leader is nearby? Kuang Tianjing's eyes narrowed slightly when he received Shui Mingji's message. At the same time he felt slightly relieved. However, he was not willing to be executed by the sect for killing Duan Lingtian. However, he had no other choice now. Lord Vice Sect Leader, although I'm certain he came out alone, is it possible that he has broken through and become a divine emperor? Kuang Tianjing asked quickly. It was clear he did not want to waste any more time. At the same time, Kuang Tianjing began to make his way to revered Elder Sikong's cultivation place. He was prepared to kill Duan Lingtian halfway. Divine Emperor? Shui Mingji did not hesitate to laugh when he heard Kuang Tianjing's message. It's not like you don't know how long it took for him to become a high divine king. Do you think he can become a divine emperor now? Unless he can concoct peak emperor-level divine pills at will and obtain the medicinal ingredients needed to raise his cultivation base. The main ingredients for those divine pills are all very rare. Even if the Heavenly Dragon sect has reserves, it would be very difficult to gather all of them. Shui Mingji did not comment on Kuang Tianjing's conjecture. Shui Mingji's conjecture was reasonable. It was impossible for Duan Lingtian to break through and become a divine emperor in such a short time within the Tianjing clan. Even if he had taken emperor divine pills and had no cultivation bottlenecks, it was impossible. Shui Mingji did not believe that Duan Lingtian could refine peak divine emperor divine pills. Of course, there was another possibility. Duan Lingtian might not be able to refine peak divine emperor divine pills, but he might have enough divine pills to help him break through and become a divine emperor in such a short time. Or he might have the corresponding heavenly treasures such as divine herbs, divine fruits, and so on. However, the possibility of this was not high. This was because Duanling Tian would either have heaven-defying luck or a shocking background to achieve such a possibility. Therefore, Shuimingji did not think that Duanling Tian could break through and become a divine emperor now. Moreover, he did not want to miss such a good opportunity. Once he missed it, he might not be able to find such a good opportunity again. Intercept him near Xuanqi Peak in Roaming Dragon Mountain Range. I'll buy you some time. It's best if you can kill him with one blow. If you can't, you must kill him within 3 breaths. Shuimingji's tone suddenly turned sharp. If he doesn't die in 3 breaths, you must take him with you even if it costs you your life. Once you attack, whether he dies or not, you'll die for sure. I'm sure you know this better than I do. After a pause, Shuimingji continued, of course if he really breaks through and becomes a divine emperor, you can only blame it on your bad luck. At that time, if you die, I'll take care of your bloodline, especially your family and friends. No matter what, your second disciple Zhongken is my son-in-law, Shuimingji's son-in-law. If Duanling Tian is already a divine emperor and you die, I'll find some divine emperors to come to the Tianlong clan and pretend to be elders of the Tianlong clan to kill him and avenge you. Hearing Shuimingji's words, Kuang Tianjing knew that although his next move was risky, it should not be too risky. Divine emperor? Although Kuang Tianjing had said so in his heart, he did not think that Duanling Tian could break through to the divine emperor realm now. Duanling Tian, a young man who was not even 3,000 years old, was already considered a monster for being able to become a superior divine king at such a young age. If he became a divine emperor, he would be the first divine emperor who was not even 3,000 years old in the history of the Eastern Ridge Mansion. In the history of Tunglung Province, the youngest divine emperor was more than 4,000 years old. There were many high-level divine kings under 3,000 years old, but no divine emperor, not even a low-level divine emperor. Vice sect leader, can't you check his cultivation level? Kuang Tianjing asked. He felt that it was safer to do so, even if he did not think that Duanling Tian was a divine emperor now. Rashly checking will only alert the enemy. Shuimingji said faintly, after all, I am only a divine emperor. Even if he is a high-level divine king, he will be alerted when I check his soul with my divine sense. You don't want him to go back directly after being alerted, do you? I think that even if it's a gamble, it's worth it. The probability that Duanling Tian has broken through to the divine emperor realm is very low. Hearing Shuimingji's words, Kuang Tianjing knew that there was no turning back. He had to do it whether he wanted to or not. Tianlong Temple had 9 intersecting mountain ranges, and Roving Dragon Mountain Range was one of them. Xuanqi Peak was an inconspicuous mountain peak in Roving Dragon Mountain Range. It was neither the highest nor the lowest. It looked ordinary and few people passed by it. But today, a purple figure appeared in the sky above Xuanqi Peak. It came from afar and headed towards the entrance to the Tianlong Temple that led to the Emperor Battle Plain. However, the moment the purple figure appeared above Xuanqi Peak, his expression changed. Bang! Accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, a violent power swept up from Xuanqi Peak and swept towards the purple figure in the sky. This power seemed to carry the might of thunder, and it was very sudden. It approached the purple figure in the blink of an eye. Phew! Kuang Tianjing, who had been accumulating power for a long time and unleashed his full power, heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he followed the force, afraid that something unexpected would happen at the crucial moment. He hid in Xuanqi Peak, while the Golden Dragon Elder and the Black Dragon Elder patrolling around the Tianlong Temple would be able to determine his identity through his attacks. It made no difference whether he hid or not. What he needed to do now was to kill the purple figure in the sky, which was his target, Duanling Tian. Just as Kuang Tianjing rushed out and saw that his power was about to hit Duanling Tian, he found that it was only an afterimage. The moment Kuang Tianjing's expression changed, Duanling Tian appeared in the void in the distance. He crossed his arms and looked at Kuang Tianjing with a hint of mockery in his eyes. Elder Kuang Tianjing, you really won't give up. The Linghu family failed to kill me and now they want to kill me in the sect. It seems that the sect's ban on killing each other is useless to you. Duanling Tian said with a mocking smile. Kuang Tianjing didn't listen to Duanling Tian's nonsense. The moment his expression changed, he launched another attack. He always remembered the words of the deputy sect leader, Shuimingji. He only had 3 breaths time. Now 1 breath's time had passed since he launched his attack. Duanling Tian, I didn't expect you to break through to the divine emperor realm. Kuang Tianjing said coldly as he launched another attack. But even so, you still have to die. At this moment, Kuang Tianjing felt lucky. He thought that if Duan Lingtian had just broken through to the lower Divine Emperor realm, he might not have time to consolidate his cultivation. If he hadn't consolidated his cultivation, Kuang Tianjing might have a chance to kill him in 2 breaths' time. I'm afraid it won't be as you wish. When Duan Lingtian spoke again, a spatial storm swept out from his body. A sword light shot up to the sky and blocked Kuang Tianjing's attack. The moment his attack was shattered, he teleported again. 2 breaths' time passed. Only 1 breath's time left. At this moment, Kuang Tianjing could feel that several powerful auras were sweeping toward them from all directions. Obviously, they were the White Dragon Elders who were patrolling the nearby area. Shui Mingji was the deputy sect leader, so he could ask the Black Dragon Elders to go easy on him. However, the Black Dragon Elders couldn't ask the White Dragon Elders to go easy on him. After all, there were too many people. Once this kind of thing spread out, it would be a big problem. Moreover, everything that happened here would be recorded by the mirror image array in Tianlong Temple. No one dared to take the risk. If the Black Dragon Elders arrived 1 or 2 breaths' time later, it could be said that they had something to do. However, if the White Dragon Elders didn't arrive in time, it would be thought-provoking. Duan Lingtian, you must die. Feeling the approaching danger, Kuang Tianjing suddenly roared. Then, his eyes widened and blood shot out from his 7 orifices. Finally, the blood condensed into a blood mist in the void and merged into his body. The next moment, a bloody aura burst out from Kuang Tianjing's body. Chapter 3872. The bloodline energy was unique to the natives of the realms of gods. Kuang Tianjing had it as well. Moreover, Kuang Tianjing's bloodline energy was different from most people's bloodline energy. Most people's bloodline energy only had one characteristic. However, Kuang Tianjing's bloodline energy was different. It had 2 characteristics. One of the characteristics was that it could increase one's strength even when it was restrained. The other characteristic was that it could increase one's strength by destroying half of the heavenly veins in one's body. However, one would be severely injured after the attack, and one's strength would be reduced by more than half. The second characteristic was a desperate attack. Kuang Tianjing had lived for tens of thousands of years, but he had only used it twice. Both times he had used it when he was on the brink of death. Moreover, both times he was lucky. Although he was severely injured in the process, it took him many years to repair half of the heavenly veins in his body. There's no other way. I can only risk my life to kill him. When Duan Lingtian dodged his first sneak attack, Kuang Tianjing knew Duan Lingtian had broken through and become a divine emperor. Otherwise, he would not have been able to dodge his attack in time. Moreover, Duan Lingtian's teleportation prowess had also revealed his strength as a lesser divine lord. At that moment, Kuang Tianjing knew he had lost the bet with Shui Mingji. The impossible had happened. As expected, Duan Lingtian had broken through and become a divine emperor. After another exchange, Kuang Tianjing realized something shocking. Not only had Duan Lingtian broken through and become a lesser divine emperor, but he had also consolidated his cultivation base as a lesser divine emperor. Otherwise, he would not have been able to deal with Kuang Tianjing's full-powered attack so easily. This was the last moment. Kuang Tianjing knew this was his last chance. If he failed again, even if Duan Lingtian was no match for him, he would be captured by the White Dragon Elder. At that time, there would be no chance to kill Duan Lingtian. Therefore, he directly activated the second characteristic of his bloodline power. He shattered half of the heavenly veins in his body and unleashed a power that was several times stronger than before. Of course, this power wouldn't last for long. Now that he had unleashed his full power, he could only guarantee that his next attack would be this powerful. Duan Lingtian, you must die. With a roar, Kuang Tianjing's figure flickered. He casually waved his hand, and a resplendent blade of light shot out from his high-quality god artifact. As it swept through the air, it seemed to be able to tear apart space, causing it to tremble. Then the light blade split in all directions and intertwined into a huge saber king. It seemed to cover the sky and the sun as it fell on Duan Lingtian. It was so fast that Duan Lingtian could not teleport in time even if he wanted to. Stop. Kuang Tianjing, do you want to die? Just as Kuang Tianjing was about to explode, a few angry voices were heard from afar. These voices belonged to the White Dragon Elders. Not only were they angry, but they were also anxious. If someone was killed in the area they were in charge of patrolling, the person who attacked first would undoubtedly die, and they would not be able to escape the blame. Especially now that the Emperor Battle Dimension had opened. The sect would most likely give them an order not to leave the Divine Emperor battlefield if they did not kill an elder of the Greater One sect who was as strong as them. This was undoubtedly a very dangerous thing to do. There's still such a trick, Duan Lingtian exclaimed. Before he could teleport again, a figure shot out from his body. It was another Duan Lingtian. This Duan Lingtian soared into the sky, then turned into a blazing light and exploded. A terrifying spatial storm swept out. At the same time, Duan Lingtian hurriedly took out his high-grade divine sword, sword follows the heart, and formed a layer of defense around his body. He even took out his spoils of war, a middle-grade defensive divine artifact. Bang! There was a loud bang. It was the explosion of Duan Lingtian's avatar, which blocked part of the power of Kuang Tianjing's all-out attack. Bang! Another loud bang. Kuang Tianjing's remaining power hit Duan Lingtian's middle-grade defensive divine artifact. Suddenly, the middle-grade defensive divine artifact was annihilated, and cracks appeared on the armor. The intact defensive divine artifact was destroyed in an instant. And then, boom! Rumble. Duan Lingtian's final trump card clashed with Kuang Tianjing's remaining strength. After a brief exchange of blows, Duan Lingtian was defeated. However, Kuang Tianjing's strength was almost depleted as well. It was this remaining power that landed on Duan Lingtian and sent Duan Lingtian flying with a bang. Wah! Duan Lingtian opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. When he finally came to a stop, he felt a wave of dizziness. He felt as though his body was about to fall apart. I was careless. Duan Lingtian sighed inwardly. He did not expect Kuang Tianjing to possess such strength. Based on Kuang Tianjing's final attack, it was likely that no other inner sect elder in the Heavenly Dragon sect would be able to cast it. Impossible. At the same time, Kuang Tianjing, who saw that Duan Lingtian was still alive, turned pale and coughed up blood. Half of his veins of heaven had been shattered, and he was now seriously injured. He no longer had the ability to chase after Duan Lingtian. Of course, even if he had the ability to chase after Duan Lingtian, he would not have the chance. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 figures appeared around Kuang Tianjing, glaring at him like a tiger watching its prey. These 3 people all had one thing in common. They all had a White Dragon Elder identity token hanging from their waists. Obviously, they were all White Dragon Elders of the Tianlong clan. They first looked at the severely injured Kuang Tianjing, then turned to look at the similarly injured Duan Lingtian. One of them had a look of disbelief. Just now they only recognized Kuang Tianjing, but did not recognize who Kuang Tianjing was attacking. Now, looking at Duan Lingtian, one of them recognized Duan Lingtian. This is Duan Lingtian. After the White Dragon Elder recognized Duan Lingtian, he transmitted his voice to the other 2 White Dragon Elders. When the 2 of them heard that the young man in purple was Duan Lingtian, they were stunned. Duan Lingtian. In their impression, although Duan Lingtian was the most powerful divine king in the Tianlong clan, a divine king was only a divine king. No matter how powerful he was, he could only be comparable to a lower divine emperor. Just now, Kuang Tianjing's last attack was so powerful that even the lower divine emperors of the Tianlong clan might not be able to take it head-on. Unless it was a lower divine emperor who could fight against an enemy of a higher level, very few lower divine emperors could escape unscathed from that attack. But now Duan Lingtian had retreated. Although he was obviously injured, he still managed to escape unscathed. Whoosh! A strong wind swept past and a white-haired old man in a sky-blue robe appeared. As soon as the old man appeared, the 3 White Dragon Elders who had arrived first bowed to him. Elder Huang. The identity token hanging on the old man's waist was the Black Dragon Elder's token. He was the Black Dragon Elder who was in charge of patrolling the Wandering Dragon Mountain Range and the other mountain range nearby. As for the 3 White Dragon Elders, they were his assistants. Capture the 2 of them and bring them to the law enforcement hall. After the white-haired old man appeared, he glanced coldly at Kuang Tianjing and then at Duan Lingtian. Then he spoke to the 3 White Dragon Elders in a businesslike manner. Yes. The 3 White Dragon Elders responded. Then 2 of them walked toward Kuang Tianjing and the last one walked toward Duan Lingtian. The White Dragon Elder who walked toward Duan Lingtian was also the White Dragon Elder who had recognized Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, I was there when you publicly refined the Extreme King level divine pill. The White Dragon Elder spoke to Duan Lingtian in a very polite tone. He was also a divine alchemist. When Duan Lingtian publicly refined pills, he was there too. However, because there were 2 other Black Dragon Elders present, not many people noticed him even though he was the White Dragon Elder. How should I address you, Elder? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile after consuming a divine healing pill. At the same time, Duan Lingtian glanced indifferently at the Black Dragon Elder who had left in the distance. Thousands of thoughts ran through his mind. It was one thing for the 3 White Dragon Elders to arrive later, but he, a Black Dragon Elder, actually arrived later than the 3 White Dragon Elders? Duan Lingtian did not believe that it was a coincidence. He was more willing to believe that it was Kuang Tianjing's arrangement. Or rather, it was the arrangement of the person behind Kuang Tianjing. As for the person who could arrange for a Black Dragon Elder to be sent here, it went without saying who was behind Kuang Tianjing. It could only be the deputy sect leader Shui Mingji. Of course, Duan Lingtian also knew that even if he thought so without evidence he could not do anything to the other party. Moreover, the other party might even accuse him of slander. This time, I'm afraid I can only deal with Kuang Tianjing. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Of course this was also what he thought. He felt that it was unrealistic to be able to deal with Kuang Tianjing and the deputy sect leader Shui Mingji. Kuang Tianjing was only an inner sect elder. It was fine if he could deal with him, but as the deputy sect leader Shui Mingji was definitely not easy to deal with. In the Tianlong clan, the deputy sect leader's position was even higher than the Black Dragon Elder, who was above the White Dragon Elder. My name is Yu Luo. At the same time he sent a voice transmission to Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, how did you offend Kuang Tianjing? He actually risked his life to kill you in the sect. This is an act of eternal damnation. No matter whether he succeeded or not, he will die without a doubt. Yu Luo was obviously puzzled. Elder Kuang Tianjing has always suspected that I was the one who killed his disciples before entering the sect. Duan Lingtian replied, I know that he hates me, but I didn't expect that he would attack me in the sect, even at the cost of his life. Elder Kuang Tianjing. As the 3 White Dragon Elders led him to the law enforcement hall, Duan Lingtian looked at Kuang Tianjing and smiled faintly. Is it worth it to risk your life for a dead person? Chapter 3873. Kuang Tianjing knew that he had failed when he failed to kill Duan Lingtian after activating his forbidden bloodline for the 3rd time against Duan Lingtian. He had failed to kill Duan Lingtian, but he still had to pay with his own life. He was indignant and resentful, but there was nothing he could do. Was it worth it? Kuang Tianjing's expression changed when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. At this moment he did not dare to say if he wanted to kill Duan Lingtian to avenge the death of his youngest disciple, Chu Han, or if he was worried Duan Lingtian would seek revenge in the future when he grew stronger. Perhaps it was more likely the latter. After all, he had regretted attacking Duan Lingtian in the Linghu family's guardian formation even though he knew that the Linghu family's guardian formation was extraordinary. At that time, not only did he fail to injure Duan Lingtian, but he also became Duan Lingtian's sworn enemy. Elder Kuang Tianjing. Duan Lingtian looked at Kuang Tianjing mockingly when he saw that Kuang Tianjing was ignoring him. At the same time he said telepathically, I'll tell you the truth, your disciple Chu Han was indeed killed by me. Kuang Tianjing only glanced at Duan Lingtian when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. His heart was as still as water, so he was not affected by Duan Lingtian's words. This was because although he did not dare to confirm that his disciple Chu Han had died at the hands of Duan Lingtian, he had always assumed that Duan Lingtian had killed Chu Han. Therefore he was not angry or shocked when he heard Duan Lingtian's admission. Duan Lingtian continued, you probably don't know how I became enemies with him, right? At this moment Kuang Tianjing's gaze finally changed. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian said bluntly, actually there is no enmity between us. Even at the moment he died by my hands, there was no enmity between us. At that time he and I found a fortuitous encounter at the same time. However, it was destined that only one of us would obtain that fortuitous encounter. I wanted to kill him and he wanted to kill me. However, I was lucky enough to be more skilled than him. Therefore the one who died was him, not me. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to see the sharp glint in Kuang Tianjing's eyes. However, he ignored Kuang Tianjing's words and continued to say, it's because of the fortuitous encounter I obtained from Chu Han that I was able to break through and become a primitive divine emperor not long after I became a prominent divine king. Otherwise, even though I quickly broke through to high-level godly king and consumed the Emperor Ascension divine pill, I wouldn't have been able to break through to the godly emperor stage without at least a few decades. Elder Kuang Tianjing. Speaking of which, I have to thank Chu Han. If it wasn't for his skills, I wouldn't have obtained that fortuitous encounter. If I didn't obtain that fortuitous encounter, I would have definitely died because of you. What a pity, what a pity. At the end of Duan Lingtian's words, Kuang Tianjing, who had lost all hope, glared at Duan Tian and shouted through voice transmission. Duan Tian, even if I, Kuang Tianjing, lose this time, you won't be able to live for long. It won't be long before you come to accompany Chu Han and me. In his state of despair, Kuang Tianjing was still infuriated. It could be seen that Duan Lingtian's words had greatly stimulated him. I'm afraid you won't have the chance to wait, Duan Lingtian said disdainfully. At this time, Kuang Tianjing, who had been angry for a while, seemed to realize that he could no longer do anything to Duan Lingtian. He did not continue to pester Duan Lingtian. Instead, he transmitted what he had just learned from Duan Lingtian to deputy sect leader Shui Mingji. He and Chu Han came across a fortuitous encounter. He killed Chu Han and obtained the fortuitous encounter. That's why he could break through to the godly emperor stage in such a short time? Just now, after learning that Duan Lingtian had broken through to the godly emperor stage, Shui Mingji knew that Kuang Tianjing was likely to fail. In the end, it was just as he had expected. However, after learning that Kuang Tianjing had used the taboo bloodline power, he did not blame Kuang Tianjing because he knew that Kuang Tianjing had done his best. Under such circumstances, not many lower godly emperors could have withstood that attack. However, Duan Lingtian had withstood it. This also meant that although Duan Lingtian had just broken through to the godly emperor stage, he was not an ordinary lower godly emperor. Even if his strength was not as strong as a middle godly emperor, he was comparable to a middle godly emperor. I thought he could refine the ultimate emperor-grade divine pill. It's good that he isn't. Shui Mingji heaved a sigh of relief. He was really worried that Duan Lingtian could refine the ultimate emperor-grade divine pill. Once the news that Duan Lingtian could refine the ultimate emperor-grade divine pill spread out, he was afraid that the leaders of the top 3 god emperors in Tunglung province would personally come to invite Duan Lingtian. Even the more powerful forces outside of Tunglung province might also come to invite Duan Lingtian if they received the news. At that time, as long as Duan Lingtian said a word, even if he was the deputy clan leader of the Tianlong clan, he would die without a doubt. If Duan Lingtian knew what Shui Mingji was thinking now, although he was not surprised, he would still snort disdainfully. Refining a supreme emperor-grade divine pill would naturally allow him to make a name for himself. However, at the same time, it would also bring him great calamity. Now he was just a puny godly emperor with heaven-defying alchemy skills. It would be fine if everyone treated him with respect, but he was afraid that some experts would want to imprison him, treat him as a slave and force him to concoct pills. In the realms of gods, there was no lack of pill slaves with profound alchemy skills who were enslaved by others. These pill slaves were usually people whose cultivation base could not keep up with their alchemy skills. Since Duan Lingtian did not want to become a pill slave, he had also revealed to Kuang Tianjing that he had only broken through to the Divine Emperor stage in such a short time because he had competed with Chu Han for a fortuitous encounter. Otherwise, people would suspect that he could refine the ultimate emperor-grade divine pill. Lord Vice Sect Leader. Kuang Tianjing said solemnly through voice transmission, I don't have much time left in the enforcement hall. I have a few words that I hope you'll take seriously, Lord Vice Sect Leader. Speak. Shui Mingji said patiently. As the saying went, a man's words are kind when he's about to die. He wanted to know what Kuang Tianjing wanted to say to him before he died. At the same time, Kuang Tianjing continued to say, although Duan Lingtian is young, he's extremely shrewd. Even an ordinary 10,000-year-old man might not be able to compare to him in this aspect. Previously, when I tricked Ding Yen to lure him out, he only sent his clone out. After his clone was destroyed, he decisively went to Shui Haichuan's place to seek refuge. It's as though he has a keen sense of danger. If it's just intuition, it's fine. After all, intuition can't always be so accurate. However, I don't think it's his intuition. It's more of a guess. Although you tried to lure Shui Haichuan away, he didn't follow Shui Haichuan into the Emperor Battle Realm. However, he left a way out for himself and went to revered Elder Si Kong's place so we couldn't do anything to him. This time, he swaggered out alone, and when he saw me appear to kill him, he didn't show the slightest bit of surprise or panic. I suspect that he guessed that I would attack him. Perhaps he came out this time to bait me into making a move. Kuang Tianjing's tone turned grim as he said, I heard he came from a Devata realm. Based on his actions, he doesn't seem like a disciple from a sect or clan with a strong background. He seems like a person without a strong background. Well, I don't mean anything by that. I just want to remind you, Lord Vice Sect Leader, it's best not to make a move on him unless you're confident. Otherwise you might go for wool and come home shorn. This time I am a living example. After Kuang Tianjing finished speaking, he did not say anything else. On the other hand, Xuemingji fell silent. Since he was able to become the vice sect leader of the Tianlong clan, although he was not much smarter than Kuang Tianjing, he was definitely not inferior. After listening to Kuang Tianjing's words, Xuemingji even thought of becoming friends with Duan Lingtian. However, after thinking about it, he dismissed the thought. Right now it seemed like there was no turning back. Although Kuang Tianjing was the one who had attacked today, he did not show up at all. However, with Duan Lingtian's intelligence, it was not difficult for him to guess Elder Black Dragon must have done something when he saw Elder Black Dragon, who was in charge of guarding the area, did not show up for a long time. He has just broken through to become a divine emperor, and he already has such strength. If I give him more time, perhaps even I won't be able to do anything to him. Even if I give him more time, I'll be left behind. Kuang Tianjing advised me not to act rashly, but if I don't act rashly for 1 day or 2 days, when will I be able to get rid of him? Sometimes, it's not a matter of acting rashly, but a matter of not being able to act rashly. I have to find a chance to kill him in the shortest time possible. When Duan Lingtian and Kuang Tianjing were brought to the Tianlong clan's law enforcement hall, Xuemingji also sent out a message. This message was not sent to anyone in the Tianlong temple, but to a good friend he had made outside the Tianlong temple. I need 2 middle-level divine emperor men of sacrifice. Help me think of a way. This was the first message Xuemingji sent out. Then Xuemingji sent out a second message. No matter the price, as long as I, Xuemingji, can afford it, I'll take it. In the law enforcement hall. After Duan Lingtian and Xuemingji were brought to the law enforcement hall, the people in the law enforcement hall began to review the mirror image formation in the Tianlong clan's Great Protective Formation. Then they sent the message to a vice hall master, an elder Black Dragon, who was not in the law enforcement hall for the time being. As for the vice hall master of the law enforcement hall, he was one of the Golden Dragon elders of the Tianlong clan. Recently he was on duty in Tianlong City in the Emperor War realm and was not present. Clan Master. After the vice hall master of the law enforcement hall confirmed the ins and outs of the matter, he immediately sent a message to the clan master of the Tianlong clan, Long Qingchong. Chapter 3874. Normally, the vice hall master of the enforcement hall, as the elder of the Black Dragon clan, could decide how to deal with an inner sect elder. However, the inner sect elder wanted to kill Duan Lingtian, and everyone knew that Duan Lingtian was the strongest person in the Tianlong clan below the Divine Emperor realm. He was a young prodigy that even the clan master thought highly of. Therefore, the vice hall master of the enforcement hall reported this matter to the clan master of the Tianlong clan. An inner sect elder, Kuang Tianjing, tried to kill Duan Lingtian? Long Qingchong, the clan master of the Tianlong clan, had a grim expression when he heard the news. Everyone in the Tianlong clan knew that he, Long Qingchong, had specially rewarded Duan Lingtian for his performance on the battlefield of the God Kings in the War of the Sovereigns. Duan Lingtian had brought glory to the Tianlong clan on the battlefield of the God Kings in the War of the Sovereigns. But now, someone was trying to kill Duan Lingtian in the Tianlong temple? Clan Master, according to the enforcement hall's rules, this matter will be considered over once Kuang Tianjing is executed. The vice hall master of the enforcement hall paused and waited for Long Qingchong's response. Long Qingchong snorted. After you execute Kuang Tianjing, execute all of Kuang Tianjing's disciples except for his second disciple. Zhong can also execute all of Kuang Tianjing's family members who are related to Kuang Tianjing by blood and are in the Tianlong clan. Long Qingchong's words were as if he wanted to exterminate Kuang Tianjing's entire family. Except for Kuang Tianjing's second disciple, Zhong Can. The vice hall master of the enforcement hall naturally knew the reason. It was because Zhong Can had a good father-in-law, the Tianlong clan's vice-clan master, Xuemingji. Sect leader, what's the reason? After hearing Long Qingchong's words, the vice hall master of the law enforcement hall asked as he inwardly gasped. Do you need me to teach you this? Long Qingchong asked. I understand. The vice hall master of the law enforcement hall felt a chill in his heart as he quickly responded. After a while, the deputy hall master of the law enforcement hall personally appeared in front of Kuang Tianjing. He stared coldly at Kuang Tianjing. Then he spoke in a clear voice. Kuang Tianjing, you have ambushed and killed inner sect disciple Duan Lingtian within the sect grounds. You have disregarded the rules of the sect as nothing, a capital offense. As soon as he spoke, even though Kuang Tianjing was prepared, his face still sank. Then the vice leader of the law enforcement hall continued, Kuang Tianjing's disciples except for the second disciple, Zhong Can, were all involved in the plot to kill Duan Lingtian. All of them will be executed. Law Enforcement Team 1, go and arrest them immediately. The moment these words were spoken, numerous voices in unison reverberated within the law enforcement hall. Squad 1 receives the order. Then, powerful auras flew out of the law enforcement hall one after another. Kwang Tianjing's expression changed drastically. Vice Hall Master Qin, this has nothing to do with them. This has nothing to do with them. Before Kwang Tianjing could finish speaking, the Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall mercilessly interrupted him again. Within the sect, anyone who is related to Kwang Tianjing by blood, which is Kwang Tianjing's family, was involved in the plot to kill Duan Lingtian. All of them will be executed. Hearing this, Kwang Tianjing's expression changed drastically again. Kwang Tianjing's voice was interrupted again. Team 2 will be responsible for this matter. Yes, Team 2. More auras rose and left the law enforcement hall. No. Kwang Tianjing let out a roar. He stared at the Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall with an unwilling expression. Then he knelt down in front of the Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall. Vice Hall Master Qin, they knew nothing about the killing of Duan Lingtian. However, the Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall only responded to Kwang Tianjing with a casual slap. Bang. Accompanied by a loud bang, a huge solid palm print fell like a mountain. Kwang Tianjing was immediately killed. The miserable screams that had been echoing in the law enforcement hall suddenly stopped. In the law enforcement hall, not only were some of the elders and disciples on duty silent, but even the 3 white dragon elders who had sent Duan Lingtian and Kwang Tianjing here were also dumbfounded at this moment. No one had expected that Duan Lingtian would be killed by Kwang Tianjing today. Not only was Kwang Tianjing executed, but Kwang Tianjing's family and disciples were almost completely wiped out. Except for Kwang Tianjing's second disciple, Zhongken. For the sake of Duan Lingtian, the sect actually, everyone's gaze when they looked at Duan Lingtian changed drastically. Initially they were indifferent, but now they were filled with dread. If it was said that Kwang Tianjing's family and disciples were involved in the plot to kill Duan Lingtian, they would definitely not believe it. Because that would be meaningless. But now, since the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall had spoken, even if there was no such thing, this matter was already set in stone. Even if the person behind this order was not the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall, it was definitely the clan leader of the Tianlong clan. Although Duan Lingtian is an inner sect disciple, his status in the sect is so high that I'm afraid no Azure Dragon disciple can compare to him. At this moment, as the person involved, Duan Lingtian was actually a little stunned. He had originally thought that the Law Enforcement Hall would only execute Kwang Tianjing. He had not expected that even Kwang Tianjing's family and disciples would be executed. Except for Zhongken. As for why Zhongken could survive, it was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to guess that it must be because he now had another identity, the son-in-law of Deputy Clan Leader Shui Mingji. Why would the Law Enforcement Hall issue such an order? I don't seem to know this Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall, right? Could it be that he's on good terms with Brother Haichuan and Brother Yanian, so he's taking care of me? But that's not very likely, is it? Just as Duan Lingtian was still guessing, the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall, an old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion dressed in a long gray robe, was already looking at him with an amiable expression. Duan Lingtian, are you satisfied with the sect's handling of this matter? Duan Lingtian snapped out of his daze and hurriedly nodded. Yes. Thank you for upholding justice for me, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian thanked him profusely. Starting from the mundane plane, Duan Lingtian naturally knew that it was necessary to eliminate the root of the problem, but he did not expect to be able to do so now. He did not expect the Law Enforcement Hall to help him with this matter. This is the clan leader's intention. The Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall did not take credit for himself. He sent a voice transmission to Duan Lingtian to tell him the inside story. Duan Lingtian, the clan leader, thinks very highly of you. When he learned that you were ambushed, he almost personally executed Kwang Tianjing. The clan leader? Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment before realization dawned on him. He did not think too much about it earlier. Now that he thought about it, even if the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall in front of him was an elder of the Black Dragon clan, it seemed that he could not easily give such an order. Moreover, he might not even dare to give such an order. The current Kwang Tianjing was not only a member of the Myriad Demon sect, and he did not only have 2 elders of the White Dragon clan as his backers. Behind Kwang Tianjing was a deputy clan leader, Shui Mingji. Hall Master. Duan Lingtian sent a voice transmission to the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall in front of him. I would like to see the clan leader to thank him back then. Is it convenient? I'll ask the clan leader for you. The Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall quickly contacted the clan leader of the Tianlong clan and asked for his opinion. Soon he received a response. At the same time he looked at Duan Lingtian and sent a voice transmission. Duan Lingtian, I just asked the clan leader. The clan leader said that he will see you when you enter the Emperor battle plane and kill an elder of the Greater One sect. At that time he will give you a big gift. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment, then smiled bitterly. The clan leader really thinks highly of me. The trip to the Emperor battle plane in the past allowed him to learn a lot about the Greater One sect, including the division of the Greater One sect's elders. In the Greater One sect, the elders were also divided into outer elders and inner elders, which was the same as the Tianlong clan. The supreme elders of the Greater One sect had a status equal to the Golden Dragon Elder of the Tianlong clan. Between the supreme elders and the inner elders of the Greater One sect, there were two types of elders, namely the Profound Sky Elder and the Dark Earth Elder. The Profound Sky Elder corresponded to the Black Dragon Elder of the Tianlong clan. The Dark Earth Elder corresponded to the White Dragon Elder of the Tianlong clan. In other words, the clan leader of the Tianlong clan meant to let Duan Lingtian kill an elder of the Greater One sect whose strength was equal to the White Dragon Elder of the Tianlong clan. Hall Master, so far the Emperor battle plane has been open for 6 or 7 years. How many Dark Earth Elders have died in the Greater One sect? Duan Lingtian asked the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall. The latter sighed. Just a month ago he was killed by Elder Shui Haichuan. This news hasn't spread yet. 2 White Dragon Elders of our Tianlong clan have died so far. Hearing the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up, but at the same time he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. As expected, the Elder of the Greater One sect was not so easy to kill. In the Emperor battle plane, higher divine emperors were not allowed to enter. In this case, the Elder of the Greater One sect and the White Dragon Elders of the Tianlong clan were equivalent to the strongest battle force in the Emperor battle plane. Existences of this level were not so easy to die. And as far as he knew, the reason why 2 White Dragon Elders of the Tianlong clan had died was because the 2 White Dragon Elders were careless and fell into the trap of the Elder of the Greater One sect. Duan Lingtian, since the clan leader has set such a request for you, it shows that he thinks highly of you. Although the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall also felt that the clan leader's request for Duan Lingtian was not realistic, but he also knew that at this time he could not attack Duan Lingtian's confidence. Duan Lingtian was speechless. Did the clan leader really think that the Emperor battle plane's Emperor battle plane was the same as the God King battle plane's Emperor battle plane? Duan Lingtian was able to run amok in the God King battle plane because he had more advantages than the other God Kings, whether it was in terms of the profoundness of laws or other means. And in the God King battle plane, not counting the lower divine emperors, among the middle divine emperors, how many divine emperors had comprehended the profoundness of laws that were inferior to his? Coupled with the difference in cultivation base, even if it was just an ordinary middle divine emperor, he could not deal with him now. Unless he used some trump cards, he might be able to fight to a draw or even defeat or kill the other party, and some means once exposed would bring disaster to him unless they left no traces. Chapter 3875. However, as far as I'm concerned, it's much easier for me to reach the Immortal Emperor realm than most of the others. The cultivation of the Divine Emperor realm was more than 10 times harder than the cultivation of the Divine King realm. However, Duan Lingtian did not spend much time in the Divine King realm. If he could only stay in the Divine Emperor realm for 100 years, Duan Lingtian felt that he was very lucky. This was after he had taken into account the various things he had obtained from the divine treasury left behind by Divine Emperor Qin. Most of the things in the divine treasury left behind by Divine Emperor Qin were only useful to divine emperors. In the past, Duan Lingtian had no use for them, but now they could be used. Among them there was no lack of cultivation aids. He had originally planned to meet the clan master of the Tianlong clan to thank him in person. After all, the clan master had taken great care of him by eliminating the Kuang Tianjing branch for him. However, since the clan master had no intention of meeting him for the time being, Duan Lingtian did not insist. Although he knew that the clan master would still meet him if he insisted, he did not think it was necessary. Now, he was even interested in the big gift promised by the clan master of the Tianlong clan. Since the clan master of the Tianlong clan called it a big gift, and gave it to him after he killed the elder of the Tai sect, it could not be an ordinary item. However, with my current strength, it's impossible for me to kill the elder of the Tai sect. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. In that case, I'll take my leave first. Goodbye, Hall Master. Duan Lingtian bade farewell to the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall and left the Law Enforcement Hall. After he left, he immediately headed in the direction of the entrance of the Emperor Battle Dimension. When Duan Lingtian left, the 3 White Dragon Elders who had sent him here and the others in the Law Enforcement Hall all looked at him respectfully. In their eyes there was a hint of fear. They knew that from now on, no one in the Tianlong clan would dare to treat the person in front of them as an ordinary inner sect disciple. What a joke. How could an ordinary inner sect disciple get the Tianlong clan's Law Enforcement Hall to stand up for him? Although I can't kill the Greater One Sect's elder for the time being, I still have to go to the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. Just because I can't kill the elder doesn't mean I can't kill the other God Kings of the Tai sect. After all, the elder of the Tai sect represents the strongest force on the battlefield of God Kings. This time, I'll try my best to accumulate as many battle merits as possible and exchange them for some of the things that caught my eye previously. It would be best if I could gather enough battle merits to exchange for the things I want. With this in mind, Duan Lingtian entered the Emperor Battle Plane. This was his second time entering the Emperor Battle Plane. Almost at the same time that Duan Lingtian entered the Emperor Battle Plane, news of the inner sect elder Kuang Tianjing ambushing him spread like wildfire throughout the Tianlong clan. For a time, the entire Tianlong clan was shaken. Inner sect elder Kuang Tianjing ambushed Duan Lingtian halfway? Do they have such a deep grudge? Kuang Tianjing, as an inner sect elder, actually dared to attack him in the sect. As far as I know, the death of Kuang Tianjing's disciple, Chu Han, seems to have something to do with Duan Lingtian. I heard this from a friend of mine in the Myriad Demon sect. Everyone was shocked that Kuang Tianjing had tried to kill Duan Lingtian in the Tianlong temple. However, this was not what shocked them the most. Instead, they were shocked that Kuang Tianjing had tried to kill Duan Lingtian, but Duan Lingtian had not been killed. Elder Kuang Tianjing is an inner sect elder, and he's one of the stronger inner sect elders. How can someone like him not kill a godly king? Even if Duan Lingtian is said to be invincible among those below the godly emperor level in the Tianlong clan, shouldn't he be able to kill Duan Lingtian with a single strike if he ambushed him? Could Elder Kuang Tianjing have been careless? While many people were puzzled by this, a piece of shocking news reached their ears in a timely manner. Duan Lingtian has broken through to become a lesser godly emperor. At the critical moment, Kuang Tianjing even activated the power of his taboo bloodline and displayed the strength that could kill most lesser godly emperors, but he still failed to kill Duan Lingtian. After this news spread, the Tianlong clan was in an uproar again. Just when everyone thought that this news was already very shocking, another piece of shocking news came. Kuang Tianjing tried to kill Duan Lingtian in the Tianlong temple. Kuang Tianjing has been sentenced to death and executed on the spot by the Law Enforcement Hall. At the same time, the Law Enforcement Hall has ordered the arrest of Kuang Tianjing's family members and disciples. Except for his second disciple, Zhong Ken, no one was spared. Tomorrow the Law Enforcement Hall will execute all of Kuang Tianjing's family members and disciples who were arrested. When this news spread, the Tianlong clan was shocked and in an uproar. When Kuang Tianjing tried to kill Duan Lingtian, even his family members and disciples were implicated. If Zhong Ken, elder Kuang Tianjing's disciple, did not become the son-in-law of deputy sect leader Shui, I'm afraid he will not be spared this time, right? Oh my god. This time, the Law Enforcement Hall is really going to kill all of Kuang Tianjing's family members. The Law Enforcement Hall will not act rashly. Perhaps the other members of Kuang Tianjing's family were really involved in the plot to kill Duan Lingtian. Because of the Law Enforcement Hall's authority, most people in the Tianlong clan believed that the Law Enforcement Hall was telling the truth. Otherwise, they could not imagine that the Law Enforcement Hall would do such a thing for an inner sect disciple. However, for those who were in the know, they knew that the Law Enforcement Hall was helping Duan Lingtian to get rid of him. For the Law Enforcement Hall to do such a thing, it was either the Law Enforcement Hall Master, who was the Golden Dragon Elder, personally gave the order, or the sect leader himself gave the order. No matter which of the two gave the order, Kuang Tianjing's family members were doomed to die. Tianlong Temple. In a secluded valley somewhere. Thump. Accompanied by a soft sound, a young man suddenly knelt in front of a middle-aged man with a mournful expression. A beautiful figure stood beside the young man. Surprisingly, it was a beautiful young woman. At this moment she was looking at the middle-aged man before her and said coquettishly, "Father, please help Zhong Can and save the lives of his fellow disciples and his master's family." The young man kneeling on the ground was Zhong Can. This woman was Zhong Can's wife, the only daughter of the Tianlong clan's deputy sect leader, Shui Mingji. As for the middle-aged man's identity, it was obvious that he was Shui Mingji. Bang, bang, bang. Shui Mingji sat in front of the stone table. A hint of helplessness flashed across his dignified face. At the same time, his fingers, which had been constantly tapping on the stone table, gradually slowed down. Finally he stopped tapping. For a moment the valley was silent. "Before your master made his move, I promised him that after he died, I would protect his family and disciples." Shui Mingji looked at the kneeling Zhong Can and said in a low voice. The moment Zhong Can's eyes lit up, Shui Mingji continued, "However, this time I really have no other choice." Zhong Can's expression changed drastically. The woman beside Zhong Can also frowned slightly. At this moment Shui Mingji continued to look at Zhong Can and said, "I can't save them. I've asked around. The extermination of your master, Kuang Tianjing's family, was personally ordered by the sect leader. Now you should understand my helplessness, right?" As soon as Zhong Can's words came out, his daughter's expression changed. Zhong Can's expression froze, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The sect leader personally gave the order? How is this possible? At first I also thought it was impossible. Shui Mingji shook his head and said, "However, I later confirmed that it was indeed true. Perhaps, it's because of Duan Ling Tian's ability in the divine pill Dao that the sect leader values. Or perhaps, it's because of Duan Ling Tian's innate talent and comprehension ability. For the sect leader, such a peerless prodigy should be on good terms with him, regardless of whether he stays in the Tianlong clan in the future. This would only be beneficial to the sect leader. Do you understand what I'm saying?" At this point Shui Mingji looked deeply at Zhong Can. As soon as he finished speaking, Shui Mingji added, "If you, Zhong Can, hadn't become my son-in-law, you wouldn't have survived this time." "I understand." After listening to Shui Mingji's words, Zhong Can was silent for a moment before he nodded. Then he stood up and a cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. "Father-in-law, what do you plan to do next?" Zhong Can knew in his heart that his father-in-law was not someone to be trifled with. He would definitely not let this matter rest. Unless he could reach a compromise with Duan Ling Tian. However, from what he knew, there was almost no room for reconciliation between his father-in-law and Duan Ling Tian. "Father, you can't just let this matter rest like this." At this time, the girl beside Zhong Can said in a low voice, "This matter is tantamount to the enmity of killing Zhong Can's father. You must avenge him." Shui Mingji glanced at the girl and sighed faintly. "Girl, don't get involved in this matter." As soon as he finished speaking, Shui Mingji looked at Zhong Can and said indifferently, "I have my own plans for what to do next. You won't be able to help, so I won't tell you about it for now. Just go back and wait for news. Perhaps one day when you wake up from your cultivation, you'll hear the news of Duan Lingtian's death." When they heard Shui Mingji's words, Zhong Can and his wife's eyes lit up. "Thank you, father-in-law." Zhong Can knelt on the ground and kowtowed to express his gratitude. At this time, the girl beside him looked at Shui Mingji with a bright smile. "Thank you, father. You may leave." Shui Mingji waved his hand and sent them off. After receiving his reply, Zhong Can did not continue to stay. In the blink of an eye, he left Shui Mingji's cultivation place with his wife. Chapter 3876. When Duan Ling Tian entered the Emperor battle plane, he was recognized, but that was all. At this time, the news of the inner sect elder Kuang Tianjing ambushing him began to spread. It would probably take some time for someone to bring in the news. This time, Duan Ling Tian made his way to the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. The disciples of the Tianlong clan, who thought Duan Ling Tian was only here to take a look, were stunned when they saw Duan Ling Tian walking in the direction of the battlefield. What's going on? Wasn't Duan Ling Tian banned from entering? Yes. Our Tianlong clan has reached an agreement with the Greater One sect. Their Greater One sect's Duan Ling Tian is banned from entering. Correspondingly, our Tianlong clan's Duan Ling Tian can't enter either. Is Duan Ling Tian trying to break the agreement between our Tianlong clan and the Greater One sect? You must know that the sect master has compensated him for this matter. That shouldn't be the case, right? If Duan Ling Tian had come to Sky Dragon City and just strolled around or went to Peace City, not many people would have paid attention to him. But now, Duan Lingtian was walking in the direction of the three major battlefields, and there was nothing to see there. This caused quite a commotion for a while. As a result, some people followed behind Duan Lingtian out of curiosity. Although Duan Lingtian noticed that some people were following him, he didn't care. He also heard the words of those people behind him and couldn't help but smile faintly. The battlefield of God Kings? He didn't intend to go back to that broken place after he came out last time. The rewards were too low. Killing a greater one sect's God King only gave him 25 battle merits. In the battlefield of the deity emperors, even killing the weakest lower deity emperor would give 200 battle merits. If one could kill a medium deity emperor, they would get 2,000 battle merits. The current Duan Lingtian was no longer the hothead of the past. Back then, when he went to the battlefield of the divine kings, he still had to ask for directions. Later on, he saw the landmark stone tablets that led to the three battlefields. At a fork in the road in Sky Dragon City, there was a stone tablet erected on each of the three roads. On top of them were the engravings of the God King battlefield, the God Sovereign battlefield, and the Quasi-Emperor battlefield. In the past, Duan Lingtian had gone to the battlefield of the God Kings. But now, Duan Lingtian had gone to the battlefield of the God Kings. This scene was naturally witnessed by the group of people who followed Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, are you preparing to enter the battlefield of the God Kings? Battlefield of divine emperors? Only divine emperors and above can enter that place. Could it be that Duan Lingtian has already broken through and become a divine emperor? Impossible. As far as I know, Duan Lingtian broke through to the upper deity king less than 10 years ago. Do you think he can break through and become a divine emperor in such a short time? Then what is he going to do? I don't know. Maybe he's just curious and wants to see what the entrance to the battlefield of the God Kings looks like. Driven by curiosity, the crowd continued to follow Duan Lingtian. No one thought that Duan Lingtian had broken through and become a divine emperor. Just like when Duan Lingtian had left the cultivation ground of the Tianlong clan Si Kong Yi and headed to the entrance of the Emperor Battle Dimension, Vice Clan Master Shui Mingji and Inner Sect Elder Kuang Tianjing did not think that he had broken through and become a divine emperor. At this moment, even the Heavenly Dragon Sect's disciples were shocked by Duan Lingtian's breakthrough to become a divine emperor. Before long, Duan Lingtian saw the entrance to the battlefield of the God Kings. The entrance to the battlefield of the God Kings looked no different from the entrance to the battlefield of the divine emperors. However, there were fewer people here and fewer soul beads were publicly displayed. This was because there were far fewer divine emperors in the Tianlong clan than divine emperors. Seeing that someone had come, the elders of the Tianlong clan who were on duty at the entrance to the battlefield of the God Kings were also attracted. Now 2 intersect elders of the Tianlong clan were on duty here. So many people? Soon they saw a group of people following behind, many of whom were disciples of the younger generation. What are they doing here? Both of them frowned slightly. Elders, I'm going to the battlefield of the God Kings. Under the horrified gaze of the people behind, Duan Lingtian stepped forward and greeted the 2 intersect elders of the Tianlong clan on duty. Then he went to the side and activated the formation for obtaining an ID badge before entering the battlefield of the God Kings. After his cultivation was confirmed, he successfully obtained his ID badge. This would also be his ID badge in the battlefield of the God Kings. He was a disciple of the Tianlong clan. Whoosh. Then, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Duan Lingtian disappeared in front of them in a flash and appeared at the entrance to the battlefield of the God Kings. Then his figure disappeared. Hey, you didn't leave any soul beads. Although one of the inner sect elders spoke in time, Duan Lingtian was faster. Before he finished speaking, his figure had already disappeared at the entrance to the battlefield of the God Kings. At the same time, gulp. Hiss. The group of people who followed behind Duan Lingtian either gulped down a mouthful of saliva or gasped. At this moment, all of them had an expression of shock and disbelief on their faces. My God! Duan Lingtian actually obtained our Heavenly Dragon Sect's Divine Imperial Disciple's identity badge and entered the Godly Imperial battlefield. Only a Divine Emperor can get the ID badge of the Divine Emperor's disciple, right? He broke through to the Divine Emperor realm? The shocked discussions of the crowd entered the ears of the 2 inner sect elders on duty, causing them to be petrified for a moment. The purple-robed young man who just entered the battlefield of the God Kings was actually Duan Lingtian? They had never seen Duan Lingtian, so it was impossible for them to recognize him. In addition, they did not know all the disciples of the Tianlong clan, so they were not surprised to see a strange face. But now they were shocked to know that the man was Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, even if they had not seen him, they had heard of him. Duan Lingtian was the recently rising heaven's pride of the Tianlong clan, known as the strongest person in the Tianlong clan below the Divine Emperor. A few years ago he killed hundreds of disciples of the Greater One sect on the battlefield of the Divine Kings by himself, which made the patriarch of the Greater One sect personally come to the Tianlong clan and set a ban to prevent Duan Lingtian from entering the battlefield of the Divine Kings. At that time, they knew that Duan Lingtian was a monstrous genius comparable to the peerless heaven's pride of the Greater One sect, Shimin Longxiang. In addition, they also knew that Duan Lingtian had stepped into the high-level Divine King realm a few years ago. Now, after witnessing Duan Lingtian get the ID badge of the Divine Emperor's disciple and successfully enter the battlefield of the Divine Kings, they subconsciously swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva and felt their throats dry. In less than 10 years, Duan Lingtian had broken through from a mid-level Divine King to a low-level Divine Emperor? Even Shimin Longxiang of the Greater One sect may not have broken through by now, right? At the same time, those who came with Duan Lingtian and recovered from their shock quickly spread the news. At the same time, disciples of the Tianlong clan also came in and told the Tianlong clan's disciples in the Emperor battle plain about what had happened between Duan Lingtian and Kuang Tianzheng. For a time the entire Sky Dragon City was shaken. In Peace City, many disciples of the Tianlong clan were discussing this matter, and many disciples of the Greater One sect also heard it. In a short time the news also spread to the Greater One sect. Duan Lingtian broke through and became a Divine Emperor? That Duan Lingtian who killed hundreds of our Greater One sect's disciples? That's him. That Duan Lingtian, the people of the Tianlong clan all said that he was someone who could stand shoulder to shoulder with Shimin Longxiang. At that time I didn't believe it. But now, Shimin Longxiang hasn't broken through, right? He shouldn't have. If he did, he would definitely enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperor. The entire Greater One sect was shaken by the news that Duan Lingtian had broken through to the Divine Emperor realm. And Shimin Longxiang, who had returned to the Greater One sect for many years, also received the news. Duan Lingtian broke through to the Divine Emperor realm? After receiving the news, he closed his door to cultivate and paid no attention to the outside world. I couldn't fight in the Divine King realm. Duan Lingtian, when I reach the Divine Emperor realm, I will definitely fight with you on the battlefield of the Divine Emperor realm. Geniuses were all proud. Shimin Longxiang was no exception. In the past, Duan Lingtian had killed many people on the battlefield of the Divine King realm, forcing the Greater One sect to urgently call him back and ban him from entering the battlefield of the Divine King realm. At first he was unwilling. Later, when he learned that Duan Lingtian could no longer enter the battlefield of the Divine King realm, he felt relieved because his only purpose in entering the battlefield of the Divine King realm was to fight with Duan Lingtian. After that, he prayed, hoping that Duan Lingtian could follow him into the Divine Emperor realm, so that they would have a chance to fight on the battlefield of the Divine Emperor realm. He thought that Duan Lingtian, who had recently broken through to the upper Divine King realm, would definitely enter the Divine Emperor realm later than him. But he did not expect that Duan Lingtian would break through first. It took less than 10 years for a middle Divine King realm to enter the upper Divine King realm and then the lower Divine Emperor realm? Shimin Longxiang was greatly shocked. However, he did not give up. Instead, he wanted to break through to the Divine Emperor realm as soon as possible and enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperor realm to fight with Duan Lingtian. He had been looking forward to this battle for a long time. Duan Lingtian broke through to the Divine Emperor realm? The Greater One sect master and the other higher-ups of the Greater One sect were shocked when they learned of Duan Lingtian's terrifying cultivation advancement. How did he cultivate? This Duan Lingtian must have obtained a great opportunity. Otherwise, no matter how talented he is, it would be impossible for him to enter the Divine Emperor realm in such a short time. That opportunity. I'm afraid it was left behind by at least an Divine Emperor expert. I think so too. Knowing that Duan Lingtian had entered the battlefield of the Divine Emperor realm, they were not worried. He was just a Divine Emperor who had just broken through to the lower Divine Emperor realm. Duan Lingtian's mastery of the profound laws, compared to the disciples of the Greater One sect's Divine King realm, may be more outstanding. But compared to the disciples of the Greater One sect's Divine Emperor realm, it may not be more outstanding. In their view, after Duan Lingtian entered the battlefield of the Divine Emperor realm, the threat to the disciples of the Greater One sect's Divine Emperor realm was at most comparable to the inner sect deacon and outer sect elder of the Greater One sect. Chapter 3877. How's it going? Seeing his daughter and son-in-law leave, Xuemingji's originally calm face instantly turned gloomy. At the same time, he sent out a message to ask about his friends outside. This friend was a good friend he had made in his early years. They had gone through life and death together. Xuemingji trusted this friend very much. Otherwise, Xuemingji would not have asked him for help in finding two intermediate God King kamikaze warriors. In the realms of gods, many forces would nurture kamikaze warriors. However, most forces would only nurture ordinary divine kamikaze warriors. As for God King kamikaze warriors, other forces would not have the resources to nurture them unless they were godly emperors. As for godly emperor kamikaze warriors, they were even rarer. If it were not for the powerful godly emperor forces, they would not have the courage to nurture them. After all, every godly emperor kamikaze warrior required a lot of resources. Among the godly emperor kamikaze warriors, the higher their cultivation base, the rarer they were. For example, although the Tianlong clan did not have any godly emperor experts, as a godly emperor force that had produced a godly emperor expert, it had a strong foundation. The Tianlong clan had nurtured some godly emperor kamikaze warriors. However, they were only low-level godly emperor kamikaze warriors, and there were very few of them. It was said that there was only one intermediate god king kamikaze warrior. This team of kamikaze warriors was in the hands of the Tianlong clan's current clan leader. This was a tradition of the Tianlong clan. I found a way. Xuemingji received a reply not long after he sent out the message. However, the price of two intermediate god king kamikaze warriors is not low, especially since they'll die if you ask them to do it. What's the price of buying their lives? Xuemingji asked. I've been trying to bargain with the other party, but I've almost reached my limit. However, old Xue, it's not that I'm looking down on you, but with your meager wealth, it'll be a huge burden for you to hire two intermediate god king kamikaze warriors. If they don't die, the price will be much lower. The other party asked, is there a chance they won't die? Undying? Xuemingji asked calmly, do you think they won't die after killing people in Tianlong Temple? For a moment, the other party fell silent. After a short while, the other party said, earlier, you said that your target is a kid who has just broken through to become a low-level deity emperor? Yes. Xuemingji replied. Don't underestimate him just because he just broke through to the lower divine emperor realm. His strength is comparable to a middle divine emperor's. When he recalled how Duan Lingtian had managed to escape from Kuang Tianjing's forbidden bloodline attack, Xuemingji did not dare to underestimate him. How about one mid-level godly emperor Deathsworn and two low-level godly emperor Deathsworn? The other party asked. Two low-level godly emperors? Hearing the other party's words, Xuemingji frowned. As far as I know, the price of two low-level godly emperor Deathsworn is not much different from the price of one mid-level godly emperor Deathsworn, right? In terms of difficulty, cultivating two low-level godly emperors was not much easier than cultivating one mid-level godly emperor. It's much worse. The other party laughed. Do you think that the Deathsworn I find are like the Deathsworn cultivated by a god-level force like the Tianlong clan, relying on cultivation resources? The path I find leads directly to a godly venerable expert who is good at soul's secret techniques. The Deathsworn I find are also godly venerable experts who are good at soul's secret techniques. They erase the memories in their 3 spiritual and 6 physical souls and inject the memories of the other Deathsworn. Have you heard of the soul-shifting Deathsworn? At this point, the person who sent the message to Xuemingji was obviously proud. Soul-shifting Deathsworn? Xuemingji sucked in a breath of cold air. You actually have such a path? If it weren't for the soul-shifting Deathsworn, and it's not that I look down on you, you may not be able to afford the cost of 2 mid-level godly emperor Deathsworn. On the other side, the person who sent the message to Xuemingji spoke very casually, without the slightest trace of politeness. A mid-level godly emperor Deathsworn who is not weaker than an inner sect elder of the Tianlong clan, plus 2 low-level godly emperor Deathsworn. It should be enough to kill the person you want to kill, right? Hearing the other party's words, Xuemingji was silent for a moment before he said, 2 low-level godly emperor Deathsworn, at least one of them is good at the law of space and can disturb the space. The person I want to kill is good at the law of space. In Xuemingji's opinion, a large part of the reason why Duan Lingtian was able to escape from Kuang Tianjing's hands last time was because Duan Lingtian had teleported in time. Also, Kuang Tianjing did not immediately activate the power of his forbidden bloodline. Otherwise, Duan Lingtian would not have been able to escape death. Let me ask, the other party sent the message. However, just as the other party's voice fell, Shuimingji said again, "Forget it, 2 mid-level godly emperor death-sworn. I don't want low-level godly emperor death-sworn. I'm still not at ease. Whatever the price is, it will be. In the next few days, I will ask my trusted disciples to send the things to you. If the divine stones and divine crystals are not enough, we will replace them with other things that are more easily circulated. This should not be a problem, right?" In response to Shuimingji's inquiry, the other party replied in a clear voice, "This is naturally not a problem. All right. Since you have decided, I will ask for 2 mid-level godly emperor death-sworn from him. When they arrive, what are your plans? Let them join the Tianlong clan and then wait for an opportunity to strike?" The Emperor Battle Plain. The battlefield of godly emperors. In the sky above a boundless plain, a purple figure flitted past like a purple lightning bolt. Although the battlefield of godly emperors is about the same size as the battlefield of godly kings, there are much more people here. I am not slow, but it has been 2 months and I have not met a single person. Duan Lingtian still remembered that when he first entered the battlefield of godly emperors, he was treading on thin ice and was extremely cautious. However, in the next few days he did not even meet a single person. Now, 2 months had passed, and he had even forgotten that there were godly emperors who could threaten him in this battlefield. He swaggered around as if he was fearless. There are so few people in such a big battlefield. There should be very few godly emperors who have the patience to travel together, right? Duan Lingtian thought. It's really boring. Moreover, I can't cultivate here, nor can I comprehend the profound meaning of laws. At the same time, because there is no spiritual qi, there is no way to refine divine pills. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian sighed inwardly. If possible, he really wanted to wait for the Greater One sect's godly emperors to come. Let's continue to look. Duan Lingtian felt that before he found the Greater One sect's godly emperors, he would most likely collapse. In the battlefield of godly kings, although he often did not see anyone from the Greater One sect for a long time, at least he could meet people from the same sect, so it was not too lonely. But this time, in the 2 months since he entered the battlefield of godly emperors, Duan Lingtian did not even see a shadow of a person. Now, he did not even have the extravagant hope of meeting someone from the Greater One sect. As long as he could meet 1 or 2 people from the Tianlong clan, he would be very moved. 2 hours later. Perhaps the heavens heard the pleading in Duan Lingtian's heart. When he passed through the endless plains, through the towering mountains and into the ice field, he heard the sound of fighting. Boom. Rumble. A violent sound came from the distance, followed by the sound of a large piece of glacier shattering. It was extremely crisp and ear-piercing. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up at this moment. It was as though he was a hungry wolf that had finally found prey after being starved for many days. Whoosh! Duan Lingtian's figure flashed, and he headed in the direction of the sound. Of course, although he was anxious, he was very calm. He did not approach with great fanfare but carefully crept over. Soon he came to the side of a glacier, barely hiding his figure, and watched the confrontation in the sky above the ice field in the distance. It was a middle-aged man and a young man. The 2 of them were fighting, and fiery red power and azure power intertwined. The impact of the law of fire and the law of water caused the void to tremble, and the aftermath of the power slammed into the ice field, causing countless ferocious cracks to appear on the ice field. There were also many places where ice holes appeared, and one could see the water inside. It was unknown whether it was lake water or sea water. Fang Yiming, although your progress is fast, you are still far from being able to kill me. After the middle-aged man blocked the opponent's attack, he sneered and said, "This time when I go out, I will report to the sect that you, Fang Yiming, attacked a fellow disciple in the Divine Emperor battlefield." On the opposite side, the young man, Fang Yiming, sneered and said, "So what if you go out and say more? Do you, Wang Yuan, have any evidence?" Around them, there was a faint formation light circulating. It was the formation set up by Fang Yiming using the formation plate to block the recording of the scryer images. Moreover, what happened in the Emperor Battle realm, even if you go out and make a heart demon blood oath, no one will take it seriously. Speaking of this, Fang Yiming's sneer deepened. The middle-aged man, Wang Yuan, heard this, his face was slightly gloomy. "No wonder you dared to attack me in the Divine Emperor battlefield, it turns out that you have already thought of a way out. However, even if it is as you say, so what? Fang Yiming, do you have the ability to kill me? If I give you a few 100 years, you may have the ability to kill me. But at that time I, Wang Yuan, may not even be in the Greater One sect. You want to avenge your master, but it is destined to be a dream. The corners of Wang Liuan's mouth were full of mockery. Hearing the conversation between the two and then seeing the two people fighting more and more fiercely, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized, so they are both people of the Greater One sect. But, unexpectedly, they are both middle-level divine emperors. After seeing the cultivation of the two people, Duan Lingtian frowned slightly. These two people were both middle-level divine emperors, and judging from their strength, it was certainly impossible for them to be Earth Underworld elders of the Greater One sect. They should be inner sect elders of the Greater One sect. However, even if they were inner sect elders of the Greater One sect, their strength was not something he could deal with without exposing his trump card. Seeing that the two people were unable to determine the winner after a long time, Duan Lingtian's mind flashed, and then his body moved slightly, breaking an icicle on one side of the glacier. Bang! With a light sound, the two people who were still fighting in the distance instantly stopped and looked in his direction. Chapter 38-78. Oh no! The moment the two middle-level divine emperors of the Greater One sect looked over, Duan Lingtian's face suddenly changed, and then he teleported away, disappearing from where he was. When he reappeared, he was already far away. However, as soon as he appeared in the distance, two figures, one in front and one behind, surrounded him. They were the two divine emperors of the Greater One sect who were fighting just now. Low-level divine emperor? Wang Liuan, the inner sect elder of the Greater One sect, looked at the divine emperor of the Greater One sect in front of him with a hint of mockery in his eyes. I haven't seen a divine emperor of the Greater One sect for a long time. I didn't expect to meet him here. But he's just a low-level divine emperor. As he said this, a touch of disdain flashed across Wang Liuan's eyes. Killing a low-level divine emperor was not a challenge, and the battle merits were low. But for him it was better than nothing. Wang Liuan's eyes were suddenly filled with killing intent. On the other side, the other inner sect elder of the Greater One sect, Fang Yiming, looked indifferent. He stared at Duan Lingtian indifferently, as if he was neither happy nor sad. However, Duan Lingtian saw the hidden killing intent in the depths of his eyes. Obviously, the two middle-level divine emperors of the Greater One sect wanted to kill him. Two lords. At this time, Duan Lingtian, whose face was pale, said in a trembling voice, I saw the two of you fighting just now. Obviously, you have a grudge against each other. Killing me, a low-level divine emperor, won't give you much battle merits. How about I help one of you kill the other and then you let me go? As Duan Lingtian said this, he glanced at Fang Yiming and Wang Liuan. Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Wang Liuan's eyes lit up, and Fang Yiming's eyes also flashed with a rare glint. Just as Wang Liuan was about to speak with joy on his face, whoosh! A loud bang interrupted Wang Liuan's words. Fang Yiming had already made his move before Wang Liuan could speak. Rolling up a vast power, he charged towards Wang Liuan. Help me kill him and I'll spare your life. When Fang Yiming attacked Wang Liuan, he didn't forget to call out to Duan Lingtian, if you don't try your best or try to escape, I'll kill you immediately. As Fang Yiming spoke, his tone was extremely cold. No one dared to doubt his words. When Duan Lingtian heard that, he did not dare to be careless. He immediately took out his high-grade sword and swept up a spatial storm as he charged towards Wang Liuan. Of course, the strength he displayed now was much weaker than Fang Yiming. However, the problem was that Wang Liuan's strength was only on par with Fang Yiming's. Dealing with Fang Yiming was already difficult for him. Now that Duan Lingtian was added to the mix, the pressure on him immediately increased. Boom! Wang Liuan unleashed his bloodline power, and his high-grade divine weapon vibrated. He temporarily retreated from Duan Lingtian and Fang Yiming's joint attack. At the same time, he looked at Duan Lingtian with an ugly expression. Boy from the Tianlong clan, if you're willing to help me kill him, I'll not only let you live, but also give you some divine gems. At this moment, Duan Lingtian felt a cold gaze from not far away. For a moment, Duan Lingtian took a deep breath and looked at Wang Liuan disdainfully. Compared to you, I'm more willing to believe in this lord who seems to be about the same age as me and whom I feel close to. As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Lingtian charged towards Wang Liuan again. At this moment, Duan Lingtian could feel the cold gaze on him moving away. Then Fang Yiming attacked again. After Duan Lingtian made his next move, he caught up with Duan Lingtian and took the lead to attack Wang Liuan. Originally, Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming's strength were on par. The two of them had fought for a long time, and it was difficult to determine the winner. Now, with the addition of Duan Lingtian, even if Duan Lingtian only displayed strength comparable to an ordinary low-level divine king, with the cooperation of Fang Yiming, he was still able to suppress Wang Liuan. Now Wang Liuan was in a more and more difficult situation. From the looks of it, he was not far from being defeated or even dying. During this process, Wang Liuan repeatedly made promises to Duan Lingtian, hoping to make Duan Lingtian change sides. However, Duan Lingtian ignored him, which made him so angry that he almost vomited blood. Why was this guy from the Tianlong clan so willing to believe Fang Yiming and not him? Just because Fang Yiming also looked like a young man and made him feel close to him? Now Wang Liuan was somewhat regretful. He had shown the appearance of a middle-aged man to show his maturity and steadiness. However, at this time, it was precisely this maturity and steadiness that could take his life. In the end, seeing that he could not persuade Duan Lingtian, Wang Liuan could only give up and shift his target to Fang Yiming. Fang Yiming, you dare to collude with someone from the Tianlong clan to attack a fellow member of the same clan. If the clan finds out, they will definitely not let you off. Wang Liuan roared, his voice full of threat. However, not only did Fang Yiming ignore him, he even increased the speed of his attacks. Fang Yiming, let's join forces to kill him first. Anyway, I'm injured now. Even without him, I may not be a match for you. You don't really want to let him off, do you? Wang Liuan continued to work hard. If this goes on, even if you scare me, you will consume a lot of energy. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to kill him later. Unfortunately, no matter how hard Wang Liuan struggled, Fang Yiming ignored him. He was just a lower divine emperor. Moreover, judging from the strength he had displayed, it was obvious that he had just become a lower divine emperor not long ago. It was obvious that he had not even mastered the use of his divine power. To Fang Yiming, killing such a lower divine emperor was no different from killing a chicken. Fang Yiming, although I was responsible for your master's death, it was not entirely my fault. It was also related to his own greed. Fang Yiming, you can't kill me. Fang Yiming, if you dare to kill me, the clan will not let you off. At this critical moment, Wang Liuan was still trying his best to survive. Unfortunately, from the beginning to the end, whether it was Fang Yiming or Duan Lingtian, they did not give him a chance, not even the slightest chance. Swoosh! Duan Lingtian swept out his sword. The sword light condensed by the spatial storm pierced through the air toward Wang Liuan, forcing Wang Liuan to move his body to dodge. If it were any other time, he would be able to easily break through an attack of this level. Even now, although he had consumed a lot of his divine power, it was not difficult for him to block such an attack. But the problem was, once he blocked the attack of the Tianlong clan's disciple, he would not be able to block Fang Yiming's attack in time. Bang! A loud sound spread. A frightening force slammed onto the ice plains, causing the originally fragmented ice surface to instantly crumble and sink to the bottom of the water. At this moment, the large lake completely revealed its original appearance. However, on the surface of the lake, bursts of cold air were still gathering and rising. After a while, a thin layer of ice appeared on the surface of the lake, and the thin layer of ice was getting thicker. This showed that the temperature in this area was very low. Puff! Blood spurted out like an arrow. It was Wang Liuan who had barely blocked Fang Yiming's attack. His whole body flew backward and his face was pale and his aura was weak. Fang Yiming, you will die a horrible death. When Fang Yiming chased him again and attacked him with great momentum, Wang Liuan growled. In the next moment, he could only watch helplessly as Fang Yiming's high-grade divine artifact fell toward him. The raging power also surrounded him. And at this moment, at the critical moment, bang! When Wang Liuan fell from the sky and approached the ice sheet, a loud sound was suddenly heard. Then the ice sheet was torn apart, and a sword light rose into the sky, killing Wang Liuan in an instant. Then a figure appeared. It was a young man in purple. It was Duan Lingtian. At some point, Duan Lingtian had already teleported to the bottom of the icy plain. He made his move at the most critical moment and killed Wang Liuan before Fang Ming could react. Who told you to kill him? When Duan Lingtian killed Wang Liuan and took Wang Liuan's identity badge and storage ring, Fang Yiming stared coldly at Duan Lingtian and asked in a deep voice. He did not express any opinion about Duan Lingtian taking the spoils alone. Because, in his view, the Tianlong clan disciple in front of him was already a dead man. It was useless to take Wang Liuan's storage ring, and it would eventually fall into his hands. Now, what Fang Yiming cared about was that Wang Liuan was not killed by him with his own hands. Lord. In the face of Fang Yiming's reprimand, Duan Lingtian's expression did not change. He smiled slightly and said, If you kill him, his identity badge will directly dissipate and disappear. At that time, I'm afraid everyone will know that he died in the hands of his own people. After all, on the battlefield of the Divine Emperor realm, only when people on opposite sides kill each other can the identity badge of the other remain intact. You are all disciples of the Greater One sect. If you kill him, his identity badge will not remain intact. But if I kill him, it will be different. At least, no one will think that he died in the hands of his fellow sect members. In this way, no one will suspect you. Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Fang Yiming smiled. So, I have to thank you? There's no need to thank me. Duan Lingtian shook his head and said, Lord, in exchange for not killing me, I will join hands with you to deal with him. Now I will help you kill him so that you won't be suspected. I don't want your favor, but his storage ring will belong to me. How about it? Okay. Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Fang Yiming narrowed his eyes slightly, and then nodded in agreement. In that case, thank you, Lord. Duan Lingtian said with a smile. Then Duan Lingtian turned around and was ready to leave. But the moment he turned around, Fang Yiming, who appeared to be kind, suddenly made a move. The divine saber in his hand cut through the air, bringing with it a huge blade light that swept toward Duan Lingtian. The next moment, whoosh. Although Duan Lingtian was hit, it immediately dissipated. It was only a shadow that was hit. Interesting. Fang Yiming sneered and stepped out. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the destination of Duan Lingtian's teleportation, staring at Duan Lingtian like a tiger eyeing its prey. Chapter 3879. You want to kill me? Duan Lingtian looked at Fang Yiming, who was blocking his way. His eyes flashed and his lips curled into a mocking smile. Fang Yiming smiled coldly. You're not so naive as to think that I'll let you go, right? You are a disciple of the Divine Emperor sect of the Sky Dragon sect, and I am a disciple of the Greater One sect. In this battlefield, we are absolute enemies. Today, even if you help me, I will not let you go. Of course you'll regret not helping Wang Liuan kill me. Even if you help Wang Liuan kill me, he won't let you go. Your fate was decided the moment we found you, Li Yundong said with a smile. You're doomed to die. Fang Yiming's eyes flashed with killing intent as he spoke, and his divine power surged. Is that so? Faced with Fang Yiming's overbearing attitude, Duan Lingtian smiled mockingly. What a coincidence. I don't intend to let the one who survived either. I didn't attack you just now because I was curious if you would attack me. Fang Yiming was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Then he sneered. Boy, I'm afraid you've lost your mind. You're just a lower divine emperor. How dare you say you'll kill me? I've never heard of a lower divine emperor in the Tianlong clan who can defeat a medium divine emperor. Fang Yiming did not believe Duan Lingtian at all. He thought Duan Lingtian was exaggerating. Then he directly attacked Duan Lingtian with his sword. At this moment, Duan Lingtian seemed to be in a daze as he faced Fang Yiming, who was charging forward. He did not move at all. Are you scared out of your wits? Fang Yiming sneered. The sword light in his hand became stronger and stronger. It swept through the air, leaving behind a trail of sword light. In fact, as the blade light swallowed and spat out, it slashed across a glacier not far away, causing an extremely deep blade mark to appear on the glacier. From this, one could see the power of Fang Yiming's blade. Tianlong clan brat, before you die, remember well. The person who will kill you is me, Greater One Sect's intersect elder, Fang Yiming. Fang Yiming's eyes turned cold, and the blade in his hand suddenly fell, chopping towards Duan Lingtian. In the next moment he smiled as if he could already see Duan Lingtian being killed by him. You should also remember that the person who killed you is a disciple of the Tianlong clan, Duan Lingtian. Just when Fang Yiming thought that Duan Lingtian was going to be further frightened by him, Duan Lingtian opened his mouth. His tone was indifferent, without any ripples, incomparably calm. Inner-sect disciple of the Tianlong clan? Fang Yiming was stunned. This was just an inner-sect disciple of the Tianlong clan? In addition, the name Duan Lingtian seemed somewhat familiar. Where had he heard it before? And in the moment when Fang Yiming was absent-minded, the blade light on the blade in his hand dimmed. This was purely due to his distraction. Wah. Wah la la. And in the moment when Fang Yiming was absent-minded, the space around Duan Lingtian began to fold and fluctuate without him activating his divine power. It was as if the entire space was moving according to Duan Lingtian's will. For a moment, many of the blade lights on Fang Yiming's blade were annihilated. At this moment, Fang Yiming himself also felt that the blade had become incomparably heavy and extremely difficult to move forward. In the next moment, Fang Yiming came to his senses and extended his divine sense. After a moment of sensing, his expression changed greatly. The way of control. You've mastered the way of control. The way of control was one of the four Taoists of heaven and earth. If it was only in its embryonic form, its power would not be high. But now, the way of control displayed by the Tianlong clan disciple in front of him was obviously not in its embryonic form. You have a good eye. Duan Ling Tian smiled faintly. His right hand pulled casually, and immediately, the divine power of a lower divine emperor merged with the space law ultimacy. At this moment he did not hide the space law ultimacy that he had comprehended. In terms of the space law ultimacy he was not weaker than Fang Yiming. At the same time he pulled casually, and a 3-foot-long green sword with 7 colors swirling around it formed. With an unparalleled sharp sword essence, it whistled towards Fang Yiming. Whoosh! As the sword swept out, the wind and clouds changed color. Even the turbulent void stopped at this moment. Sword principle. In the next moment, Fang Yiming, who had hurriedly come to his senses, changed his expression greatly again. At the same time, there was no longer any contempt in his eyes. Instead, it was replaced by a strong sense of fear. Damn it! How is this possible? He's a lower divine emperor. Not only has he mastered the space law ultimacy, but he has also mastered the space law sword principle and the way of control. At this moment, Fang Yiming's mind spun rapidly. At the same time, he realized that he might not be a match for his opponent, even if his opponent was only a lower divine emperor. However, his opponent's various means were enough to make up for the gap between their cultivation realms. If he continued to fight with his opponent, he would be the one to die. However, if he wanted to escape, he still had a chance. Thinking of this, Fang Yiming heaved a sigh of relief. But Fang Yiming erupted at all costs, erupting all of his bloodline power. He was not sure if he could hurt Duan Ling Tian, at least he thought it was unlikely. With the help of the recoil, Fang Yiming quickly retreated and then tried to escape. You can't escape, Duan Ling Tian said slowly. Then, the 3-foot-long green sword in his hand flashed with 7 colors, and a 7-colored sword light flew out like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Whoosh! The sword light broke through the void, and its speed was completely beyond Fang Yiming's imagination. How is this possible? Feeling that the danger behind him was getting stronger and stronger, Fang Yiming subconsciously turned his head to look. When he looked at it with his divine sense, he could clearly feel that there was a clear will in the 7-colored sword light. Kill. This will reverberated in his mind, but it was a clear and pleasant woman's voice. Suddenly his expression changed greatly. It's an artifact spirit. This is a high-grade divine sword with a complete artifact spirit. No. In the next moment, Fang Yiming hurriedly came back to his senses and desperately tried to block. Whoosh! Then, even though Fang Yiming desperately tried to block, the 7-colored sword light annihilated most of his attacks and fell on his body, injuring him. And it was a serious injury. Whoosh! At the same time, Duan Ling Tian teleported and appeared in front of the seriously injured Fang Yiming. At this time, Fang Yiming's face was full of despair. Impossible, impossible. You are a disciple of the Tianlong clan, how can you have such a divine weapon? How can you master 2 of the 4 Taoists of heaven and earth? Impossible. After roaring in fear for a moment, Fang Yiming calmed down and looked at Duan Ling Tian with an ugly expression. Who are you? External aid invited by the Tianlong clan. Even the lower divine emperors of the top divine emperors in Tunglung province can't be as heaven-defying as you. However, in the face of Fang Yiming's confusion, Duan Ling Tian only responded to him with a sword, cutting the Gordian knot. Now, not only did Duan Ling Tian reveal his sword Dao and Dao of control, but he also revealed the 7 orifices exquisite sword in order to kill Fang Yiming. He did not want to delay time and wait for a third person to appear on the scene. With Fang Yiming's death, no one would know the secret that he revealed. Perhaps the strongest person who made the array disc of the Emperor battle plane would know. But would the strongest person care about this? Whoosh! After the sword, Fang Yiming died. Before he died, his eyes were still wide open. Obviously he died with a grievance. Until his death, he still could not figure out how the Tianlong clan could produce such a heaven-defying character. Until his death, he still could not figure out why he found the name familiar. Finally, it's a good start. A good start, a good omen. After Duan Tian put away Fang Yiming's identity badge and storage ring, a bright smile appeared on his face. At the same time he took out the storage ring of the Greater One Sect Inner Sect Elder Wang Liuan. After claiming ownership of their spatial rings, Duan Tian, who was originally filled with anticipation, instantly had a disappointed expression when he took a glance at their contents. Really too poor ghost. Especially this Fang Yiming, there are so few divine stones and divine crystals in his storage ring. Now Duan Tian had completely forgotten. Although he had just broken through to the Divine Emperor realm, the resources he enjoyed in the Tianlong clan were not something that even an ordinary Black Dragon Elder could enjoy. Not to mention anything else, just the amount of contribution points that the Sky Dragon Sect Master had given him was something that not even the elders of the Black Dragon Sect had. It was also because of this that Duan Tian's vision was much higher. How could the wealth of two Greater One Sect Inner Sect Elders enter his eyes? Perhaps, even if a Greater One Sect Elder was killed by Duan Tian would still curse the other party for being poor. Greater One City. At the entrance of the Divine Emperor battlefield. When the first shattering sound was heard, the faces of the three Greater One Sect Inner Sect Elders on duty all changed. Especially when they saw the shattered soul bead, their faces were very ugly. It's Elder Wang Liuan. Elder Wang Liuan has died. Another Divine Emperor has died. Now the advantage we have is getting smaller and smaller. Elder Wang Liuan has died. Was it the White Dragon Elder of the Tianlong clan? Even if it was not the White Dragon Elder of the Tianlong clan, it must have been two or more Tianlong clan Inner Sect Elders working together. Moreover, if it was just two ordinary Tianlong clan Inner Sect Elders working together, even if Elder Wang Liuan was not their match, he may still be able to escape. Just as the three of them passed on the news to the person in Tai City with an ugly expression, asking him to spread the news. Another crisp sound was heard, and suddenly the expressions of the three people froze. A moment later, the three people looked at each other in dismay, seeing the disbelief in each other's eyes. In such a short time. Another person has died? Since the start of the Emperor battle with the Tianlong clan, it was not that Greater One Sect had not lost a Divine Emperor disciple. But they had not lost two Divine Emperor disciples in succession. The two people who had died closest to them had died nearly 10 days apart. When their eyes fell on the shattered soul bead, their faces changed again. It's Elder Fang Yiming. Another Inner Sect Elder has died. Two Inner Sect Elders have died in succession. What did they encounter? Chapter 3880. Since the opening of the Emperor battle plane, although the Greater One Sect had lost some Inner Sect Elders, the number of Inner Sect Elders that had died was very few. Most of those who died were low-level Divine Emperors. There were not many middle Divine Emperors like Inner Sect Elders who had died. In fact, there were not more than 10 of them. But now, in just a quarter of an hour, their Greater One Sect had lost two middle-level Divine Emperor Inner Sect Elders in succession. Who could tell them what was going on? Inner Sect Elder Wang Lu and Inner Sect Elder Fang Yiming both died in less than a quarter of an hour. Were they killed together or were they killed one by one? As far as I know, the relationship between these two Inner Sect Elders has always been bad. Their relationship is more than bad. In my opinion, if possible, they could even fight to the death. You think? Could it be that they fought to the death in the God Emperor battlefield and both sides were injured, and the Tianlong clan took advantage of them? It's possible. It shouldn't be. It's a big crime to attack a fellow disciple in the God Emperor battlefield. When they return, they will be severely punished. As the news of Inner Sect Elder Fang Yiming's death spread, Greater One City was in an uproar. Not long after the news spread, and the entire Greater One Sect was shaken. No matter what the truth was, the death of two Inner Sect Elders was a great loss for Greater One Sect. Now, the number of Inner Sect Elders who had died in Greater One Sect was 9. If one more died, it would break the double digits. 9 of our Greater One Sect's Inner Sect Elders have died, and one of our Elder Earth Nether has died. On the other hand, although the Tianlong clan has lost 2 White Dragon Elders, only 5 Inner Sect Elders have died. Originally, our Greater One Sect had the advantage. But now, it seems that the Tianlong clan has taken back the advantage. Damn it. If we go to Peace City now, we won't be able to make fun of the Tianlong clan. In the God King battle between the Greater One Sect and the Tianlong clan, both sides were evenly matched. Even if one side lost tragically, it was still a reversal of fortune. Now, more people were paying attention to the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. As for the higher-level Quasi-Emperor battlefield, although several great battles had broken out, no one had died, only some people were injured. In fact, the most intense battles between sovereigns were between godly kings and godly emperors. On the contrary, there were very few casualties in the Quasi-Emperors' battlefields. This was because the Quasi-Emperors' battlefields were all high-level godly emperors. Even if they couldn't defeat their opponents, they still had a chance to escape. The death of 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect within a quarter of an hour was bad news for the Greater One sect. But to the Tianlong clan this was good news. Ah, this is great. How satisfying. I don't know which elder of our Tianlong clan killed the 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect. Killing 2 Greater One sect inner sect elders in a row. If the one who did it was an inner sect elder of our Tianlong clan, I'm afraid it's more than one person, right? Could also be Elder Bai Long. I heard that the 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect have always been on bad terms, and may have fought on the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. Now, on the Greater One sect side, many people are saying that it was an elder of our Tianlong clan who took advantage of the internal battle when both sides were injured. Even if it was an advantage, the one who died was someone from the Greater One sect. In Sky Dragon City, there was a festive atmosphere. In Peace City, the group of people of the Greater One sect who were originally arrogant, were no longer as arrogant as before, because the Greater One sect had not gained any advantage on the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. It's Duan Lingtian. Suddenly there was a cry of surprise, breaking the silence in Peace City. A purple figure was coming from the direction of Sky Dragon City. After arriving in Peace City, he headed straight to the place where he could exchange battle merits. He's going to exchange battle merits? Isn't he not allowed to enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperors? I heard that he entered the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. Didn't he just break through to the Divine Emperor realm? Could it be that he gained something in the 2 months he spent on the battlefield of the Divine Emperors? Under the questioning gaze of many people of the Greater One sect, Duan Lingtian, who had just come out of the battlefield of the Divine Emperors, once again came to the place where he could exchange battle merits. The last time he came, he took out 100 identity badges of the Greater One sect's Divine Emperors and exchanged them for less than 1,000 battle merits. Back then on the battlefield of the Divine Emperors, I killed 100 people and spent a lot of effort to get less than 1,000 battle merits. This time I didn't do much, only killed 2 people, but I got 4,000 battle merits. Duan Lingtian completely turned a blind eye to the gazes that swept over him, as well as the people of the Tianlong clan and the Greater One sect who were following him all the way. He was deep in thought. After killing Fang Yiming on the battlefield of the Divine Emperors, Duan Lingtian went all the way back and did not go any further. He intended to leave the battlefield of the Divine Emperors for the time being. 4,000 battle merits were enough for him to exchange for something useful for his cultivation. Next, he was going to cultivate for a period of time, and when his strength had further improved, he would enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. Of course, before he was ready to come out, he also thought that he might encounter the Divine Emperors of the Greater One sect on the way back, but it turned out that imagination was beautiful and reality was cruel. Until he came out, he had not encountered a single Divine Emperor disciple of the Greater One sect. But he did encounter 2 Divine Emperor disciples of the Tianlong clan. This Duan Lingtian, has he really broken through to the Divine Emperor realm? Duan Lingtian walked into the main hall where he could exchange battle merits. Whether it was the people inside or outside the hall, they all looked at him with a questioning look. If he didn't break through, how could he enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperors? Many people of the Tianlong clan have witnessed him enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. Let's see if he came here again. Did he not have time to exchange for battle merits, or did he gain something from the battlefield of the Divine Emperors? Our Greater One sect in the past 2 months has not lost a Divine Emperor disciple. Perhaps he came to hand in the harvest that he did not have time to hand in. Under the gaze of a group of people, Duan Lingtian came to the counter where the Divine Emperors could exchange battle merits. Unlike the counter where the Divine Kings could exchange battle merits, there were many people in line, but there was no one in line in front of the counter where the Divine Emperors could exchange battle merits, so Duan Lingtian could directly deal with it as soon as he arrived. Is it the identity badge of the Greater One sect's Divine King disciple that he did not have time to hand in the past? Behind the counter, a white-haired old man from the several top Divine Emperor forces of Tunglung province narrowed his eyes at Duan Lingtian and asked, "No." Duan Lingtian shook his head, took out 2 identity badges from the storage ring, and handed them to the old man at the same time saying indifferently, 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect. As soon as Duan Lingtian said this, the old man's pupils shrank sharply. And the people in the hall, who were still noisy, also at this moment as if someone had grabbed their throat, lost their voice. There were many people in the hall, but at this moment it was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop on the ground. A moment later someone came back to his senses. Did I hear wrong? Duan Lingtian said that the identity badges in his hand belonged to the 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect? In the past 2 months, the Greater One sect has indeed lost 2 inner sect elders. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Elder Wang Liuan and Elder Fang Yiming are both middle divine emperors. It is impossible for them to die in the hands of Duan Lingtian. Impossible. Duan Lingtian must be deliberately mystifying things. Inside the hall, the people of the Tianlong clan were shocked, and the people of the Greater One sect did not believe it. It was not until the old man behind the counter took the 2 identity badges and sighed that they came back to their senses. When they looked at Duan Lingtian again, it was as if they had seen a ghost. These are indeed the identity badges of the inner sect elders of the Tianlong clan, Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming. I didn't expect that the 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect who had recently fallen were killed by you. These were the old man's words. The 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect are both middle divine emperors. Duan Lingtian, you can get 4,000 battle merits. As the old man spoke, he gave Duan Lingtian the battle merits. Thank you, elder. Duan Lingtian repeatedly thanked him. Duan Lingtian. Just as Duan Lingtian was about to leave, the old man's voice transmission entered his ears. Duan Lingtian, you can consider joining our clan. Our clan is one of the top clans in the Tunglung province. If you join us, we will give you the treatment of a direct descendant. Almost at the same time, several voice transmissions entered Duan Lingtian's ears one after another from the other counters. People from several top divine emperor forces in the Tunglung province could not help but extend an olive branch to Duan Lingtian, as if they had completely forgotten that Duan Lingtian had rejected them in the past. Duan Lingtian, don't be in a hurry to reject. I know that you may want to wait until the end of the emperor battle before choosing a stronger force to join. Our clan welcomes you at any time. Duan Lingtian, the clan behind me can wait for you to complete your training in the emperor battle plane. Duan Lingtian tactfully declined the invitations from several top forces. In the end, when the crowd subconsciously made way for him, he left the main hall. At the same time, there was an uproar in the main hall. Those 2 inner sect elders of Greater One sect really died at the hands of Duan Lingtian? Heavens! How did Duan Lingtian do it? Didn't he just break through to the Divine Emperor realm? Let's go. Let's ask him. Many people followed Duan Lingtian out of the main hall, and those who did not follow him hurriedly began to send messages back to their respective sections. For a time, Sky Dragon City and Greater One City were in an uproar. Some time ago, the 2 inner sect elders of Greater One sect who were suspected to have died at the hands of a divine emperor of the Tianlong clan had actually died at the hands of Duan Lingtian. At this moment, as the person involved, Duan Lingtian was wantonly exchanging his battle merits for various things that he urgently needed in Peace City. The main thing was that he needed rare medicinal ingredients to refine divine pills. During this process, many people asked him, Duan Lingtian, you just broke through to the Divine Emperor realm, so how did you kill those 2 inner sect elders of Greater One sect? They were both middle divine emperors. Chapter 3881. As someone asked this question to Duan Lingtian, numerous curious gazes also fell on Duan Lingtian. Everyone was curious. How did Duan Lingtian, a person who had just broken through to the Divine Emperor realm, kill 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect? It should be said that the inner sect elders of the Greater One sect were all middle-level divine emperors. Although Duan Lingtian was recognized as a monstrous genius, but the profound meaning of the laws that he had comprehended was at most on par with the inner sect elders of the Greater One sect. Given the difference in cultivation level, it was already shocking that he was able to fight to a draw with the inner sect elders of the Greater One sect. Not to mention killing the inner sect elders of the Greater One sect. Moreover, it was 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect. Looking at Duan Lingtian's current appearance, he doesn't seem to be injured. How did he do it? In addition to curiosity, there was only curiosity in the eyes. But facing the curious gazes of the crowd, Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. If I told you that I was lucky to kill the 2 people of the Greater One sect, Would you believe me? Lucky? How is it lucky? More and more people opened their mouths, asking all at once. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed and he said bluntly, I have been in the Divine Emperor battlefield for 2 months, but I have not encountered a single Divine Emperor of the Greater One sect. And at this time, on an ice field, I witnessed 2 people fighting, and it was a battle of life and death. Most importantly, the 2 people fighting were not people of our Tianlong clan. As soon as Duan Lingtian said this, many people's pupils shrank sharply. Duan Lingtian. There were even people of the Greater One sect who could not help but ask, Duan Lingtian, you mean? The 2 inner sect elders of our Greater One sect were fighting on the Divine Emperor battlefield. Now, the matter of the discord between the Greater One sect inner sect elder Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming was not a secret not only in the Greater One sect, but also in the Tianlong clan. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. When the 2 of them fought, every move they made was a killing move. While they were fighting, I heard their conversation. It should be because of Fang Yiming's master that the 2 of them started a feud and would not rest until one of them was dead. They're fighting and they're all stronger than me. Naturally, I can't expose myself. Once I do, they'll definitely kill me. So, I waited. After waiting for a few days, they finally reached the end of their lives. When they were both heavily injured and on the brink of death, I appeared and killed them. Well, it didn't take much effort. Speaking of this, Duan Lingtian, as though he did not see the lifeless eyes of the crowd, continued, speaking of which, I really have to thank the 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect for their infighting, otherwise it would have been impossible for me, Duan Lingtian, to have such a great harvest the first time I entered the Divine Emperor battlefield. After killing them and taking their identity badges, I didn't continue to stay there. I just wanted to go in and join in the fun. With such a great harvest, it would be very dangerous to continue to stay there. When Duan Lingtian finished speaking, he disregarded the dumbstruck crowd and directly left with large strides. This time there was no one chasing after him. And when Duan Lingtian's figure disappeared at the end of the road, the group of people came back to their senses. Heavens! I didn't expect the truth to be like this. Duan Lingtian's luck is too good, isn't it? He unexpectedly encountered an infighting between 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect, and finally, with the advantage of being the Oriole behind, the weak defeated the strong and killed the 2. Isn't it a little too easy for him to get his 4,000 battle merits? It really makes people envious. If I could encounter an infighting between the inner sect elders of the Greater One sect on the Divine Emperor battlefield, that would be great. Now, the people who were discussing animatedly were basically the disciples of the Tianlong clan. As for the disciples of the Greater One sect, they were all dispersing with an ugly look on their faces. However, although they did not say anything at the scene, but secretly they angrily spread the news back to Greater One City. Between their words, there was no lack of curses directed at Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming. For a time, Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming, the 2 inner sect elders who had already died, seemed to have become the sinners of the Greater One sect, spurned by everyone. What? Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming died in the hands of Duan Lingtian? That Duan Lingtian who killed hundreds of disciples of our Greater One sect on the Divine King battlefield a few years ago? He has just broken through to the Divine Emperor realm. How could he kill 2 inner sect elders? The 2 inner sect elders were fighting for a few days, and after both sides were injured and exhausted, he took advantage of them. When Duan Lingtian said this, I was also present. Duan Lingtian seemed to also say that when the 2 inner sect elders were fighting, they seemed to mention that the hatred between the 2 inner sect elders originated from the master of Elder Fang Yiming. Greater One City was in an uproar, completely in an uproar. The 2 inner sect elders of the Greater One sect that had recently fallen were not openly killed in the hands of the people of the Sky Dragon sect, but instead killed each other and were taken advantage of by others? Shameful. Too shameful. Now, the Tianlong clan is most likely laughing at our Greater One sect, right? I really don't know what they are thinking. The Emperor Battle Plain is the stage for our Greater One sect and the Tianlong clan to fight. Why would they fight among themselves? If they really wanted to fight among themselves, they could just sign a life and death contract and kill each other in the sect. Now, in the Deity Emperor battlefield they were taken advantage of and they all died. What a joke. These 2 people are simply throwing away the face of our Greater One sect. For the time being, Duan Lingtian did not know that his words had caused a series of chain reactions. Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming had become the sinners of the Greater One sect. Even their family and friends could no longer raise their heads. Duan Lingtian only knew of this matter a month later, when Shui Haichuan personally told him. Junior brother Duan, this time you not only took advantage of them. If the two people you took advantage of came back to life and learned about the current situation of their family and friends, they would most likely vomit blood from regret. I really don't know what they're thinking. How could they fight on the battlefield of the Divine Emperors and even fight to the point where both sides are exhausted? Didn't they think that our Sky Dragon sect would pass by and take advantage of them? Xue Haichuan repeatedly shook his head. Hearing Xue Haichuan's words, Duan Lingtian inevitably felt a little guilty. At that time, although the two people of the Greater One sect were killing each other, they were still holding back, especially Wang Liuan, who obviously did not want to be entangled with Fang Yiming. If he was not there or did not show up, Wang Liuan most likely would have left Fang Yiming behind and would not have fought with Fang Yiming to the point of being injured. If you want to blame someone in the underworld, then blame your Greater One sect disciples. If it weren't for them suspecting that you killed each other and our Sky Dragon sect took advantage of it, I wouldn't have said that. A month ago, before leaving the Divine Emperor battlefield and going to Sky Dragon City, Duan Lingtian did not intend to say that it was because Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming killed each other that he took advantage of them. The reason why he said that was because the disciples of the Greater One sect gave him the inspiration. On the way to Sky Dragon City, he heard a lot of people mention that Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming were not on good terms, so when asked later he took the opportunity to say that. He also believed that that was the answer that the Greater One sect was more willing to accept. If he said that Duan Lingtian, with his own strength, killed two people at their peak, not to mention that the Greater One sect would not believe it, the Greater One sect would not be willing to accept such an answer. An inner sect disciple of the Tianlong clan, who had just broken through to the Divine Emperor realm, killed two middle Divine Emperor elders of the Greater One sect? If this were to spread out, the Greater One sect would become a laughingstock. Of course, if Duan Lingtian did not say anything, even if the people of the Greater One sect speculated, it would not have any impact on the family and friends of Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming. However, after Duan Lingtian personally confirmed that Wang Liuan and Fang Yiming were guilty, even if the Greater One sect would not be implicated and punish their family and friends, the other people of the Greater One sect would not let their family and friends have an easy time. Little Tian. Suddenly, as though thinking of something, Xue Haichuan looked at Duan Lingtian. I heard that. A month ago, after you exchanged for 4,000 battle merits, you used up all of them. Do you have a lot of things that you need? Those things in Heping City? Xue Haichuan asked. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. There are a lot of things that I need recently. After I have used up all the things I exchanged recently, after a period of closed-door cultivation, I will enter the Divine Emperor battlefield again to earn battle merits. I will try to buy all the things I want as soon as possible. In this regard, Duan Lingtian did not intend to hide it. Moreover, the things he bought in the future would certainly be known, so there was no point in hiding it now. How many more battle merits do you need? Xue Haichuan asked. Duan Lingtian did not think about anything else. When he heard Xue Haichuan's question, he said bluntly, I still need more than 14,000 battle merits. Next time, I will kill a few more Greater One sect inner elders and I will have enough. If I'm lucky, I can get 3 times the battle merits by killing an Earth Nether elder of the Greater One sect. Although a mid-level Divine Emperor was worth 2,000 battle merits in the Divine Emperor battlefield, Elder Bai Long of the Tianlong clan and the Earth Nether elder of the Greater One sect were outstanding mid-level Divine Emperors. Killing either of them would give 3 times the battle merits. In other words, killing an Greater One sect inner elder was worth 2,000 battle merits. Killing an Earth Nether elder of the Greater One sect would give 3 times the battle merits of 2,000 battle merits, which was 6,000 battle merits. Kill an Earth Nether elder of the Greater One sect? Xue Haichuan shook his head. Little Tian, don't be arrogant just because you killed 2 Greater One sect inner elders by luck. With your current strength, I'm afraid you are not a match for an inner elder of the Greater One sect at his peak. And the Earth Nether elder of the Greater One sect, under normal circumstances, can fight to a draw with 3 ordinary Greater One sect inner elders. Chapter 3882. Duan Lingtian smiled awkwardly in the face of Xue Haichuan's advice. I was just joking. I know how lucky I was this time. If he encountered the Elder Earth Nether from the Greater One sect, he would not be able to kill him if he used his trump card. However, it would not be easy for him to kill the Elder Earth Nether. Under such circumstances, he hoped he would not encounter the Elder Earth Nether. Otherwise he would either have to wait for his death or reveal his trump card. and the consequences of exposing his trump card could very well bring him a life-and-death crisis. Although he could say the Elder Earth Nether was making it up and deliberately slandering him. After all, the Elder Earth Nether would not be able to make a heart demon blood oath after leaving the Emperor Battle Realm. This was because when he revealed his trump card to the Elder Earth Nether, it would be in the Emperor Battle Realm and not in the Mystic Astral Land. At that time he could even make a heart demon blood oath in front of everyone that he did not reveal his trump card in the Emperor Battle Realm. Although the battlefield in the Emperor Battle Realm was also enveloped by a formation set up by a Supreme Expert, it was completely separate from the Supreme Expert. Unless the Supreme Expert had left his divine consciousness on the formation, it would be impossible for him to know what was going on in the Emperor Battle Realm. Duanling Tian would believe it if one said the divine consciousness of a supreme powerhouse from the revered battle realm or the supreme battlefield realm was embedded in the formation. However, the supreme expert in the Emperor Battle Realm would not be interested in joining in the fun. Of course, this was only Duanling Tian's guess. He was not 100% sure. For this reason, he did not want to reveal his trump card in front of the Elder Earth Nether from the Greater One sect. In fact, he did not even want to encounter the Elder Earth Nether in the Emperor Battle Realm. The reason why he entered the battlefield of the Emperor Battle Realm was because he had just broken through to the Godly Emperor Realm. His confidence was inflated, and he wanted to experience a real battle between godly emperors. Another reason was that he had accumulated some things that he could exchange for in the Emperor Battle Realm and Ping City. For example, the herbs he needed to refine divine pills. In the past, he had obtained many good items from the Divine Emperor Qin Wu's divine estate. Most of them were useful to divine emperors. However, only a portion of those things were what he currently needed. Some things were better for medium-level godly emperors or even high-level godly emperors. Because of these two reasons, he went to the Emperor Battle Plane. It wasn't until he thought about the possibility of encountering the Greater One Sect's Earth Nether Elder on the battlefield of the Emperor Battle Plane that he felt some lingering fear. He had to admit that from the very beginning he had thought that he would get lucky. On the other hand, he was also thinking that if he used the Seven Orifices Exquisite Sword normally, together with the Sword Dao and the Dao of Control, he might not be able to kill the Greater One Sect's Elder Earth Nether. But what if the Sword Soul of the Seven Orifices Exquisite Sword, Huang Er, appeared? Huang Er's strength increased along with his cultivation. Even now he might not be much inferior to him. In short, there was a certain amount of hope. Of course, there was also the element of gambling. I was lucky this time. Next time, try not to take such a risk. Even if I were to be exposed, no one might suspect me and attack me, but I still have to be on guard. It's the same reason why I don't dare to reveal that I can refine the limit of the Emperor-grade divine pills. Duanling Tian thought to himself. Little Tian. Xue Haichuan did not know what Duanling Tian was thinking. When he heard Duanling Tian saying that he was in need of battle merits, he pondered for a moment before he said, I obtained 8,000 battle merits in the battlefield of the Divine Emperors, but I only used a few hundred points. I still have 7,000 left. If you're in need of battle merits, I'll lend you 7,000 points. That's half of the 14,000 points you want. It should be enough to solve your problem. Xue Haichuan said. As soon as Xue Haichuan finished speaking, Duanling Tian immediately shook his head. Brother Haichuan, I'll earn the battle merits myself. You should keep the battle merits for yourself. Xue Haichuan also shook his head. Didn't I tell you that I don't need the battle merits for the time being? Moreover, I'm lending them to you, not giving them to you. You'll have to return what I lend you. What? Are you going to go back on your word? Moreover, if I don't lend you the battle merits, who knows when you'll run to the battlefield of the Divine Emperors again on a whim. You're lucky this time, but you may not be next time. As he spoke, Xue Haichuan's expression became much more solemn, and his eyes were filled with vigilance. A warm current rose in Duanling Tian's heart, but he still decided to decline Xue Haichuan's kindness. However, Xue Haichuan's persistence was beyond Duanling Tian's expectation. In the end, Duanling Tian could not resist and borrowed 6,000 battle merits from Xue Haichuan. Battle merits could be transferred between people of the same sect through their identity badges. When Duanling Tian was still a divine king, his battle merits were on his identity badge of the Tianlong clan. Normally speaking, he could transfer the battle merits on that identity badge to the identity badge of the divine emperors of the Tianlong clan that he obtained later. But he did not do that. Firstly, it was too troublesome. Secondly, there were not many battle merits in the identity badge of the Tianlong clan. There were only a few points, so he felt that there was no need to transfer it. Even if he did, he might not be able to use those few points. Take the battle merits and exchange them for some things that you've accumulated. As for the rest, wait until your strength has improved further before you enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperors. After transferring the battle merits to Duan Ling Tian, Shui Haichuan smiled and said to Duan Ling Tian, "Next time when you want to enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperors, let me know and I'll go with you. I think, the next time you enter the battlefield of the Divine Emperors, you should already have strength that is not weaker than the inner sect elders of the Greater One sect." As Shui Haichuan spoke, he looked at Duan Ling Tian and could not help sighing. "I still remember the first time I saw you not long ago. At that time, you were only a divine king and not even a high divine king. Now I'm still a middle divine emperor, a white dragon elder of the Tianlong clan. But you already have strength that is close to a middle divine emperor." Faced with Shui Haichuan's sigh, Duan Ling Tian smiled and said, "Yes? Perhaps, it won't be long before I can catch up with you, brother Shui Haichuan. At that time I'll also become a white dragon elder." "You're asking for a beating now." Shui Haichuan shook his head helplessly. Then, his eyes narrowed as he looked at Duan Ling Tian and asked, "Little Tian, last time when you were ambushed by Kuang Tianjing, it was on purpose, right?" Shui Haichuan had come out from the Emperor Battle Realm a month ago. As soon as he came out, he heard that Duan Ling Tian had been ambushed by Kuang Tianjing. At that time he was worried for Duan Ling Tian. He did not expect that Duan Ling Tian would seek refuge with Si Kong, and that Kuang Tianjing would find an opportunity to kill him. However, after thinking about it, he felt that Duan Ling Tian was not an impulsive person. Moreover, Duan Ling Tian had become a divine emperor, so he guessed that Duan Ling Tian might have deliberately tricked Kuang Tianjing. Of course it was on purpose. Duan Ling Tian nodded. "If I hadn't broken through to the divine emperor realm and gained some confidence in my strength, I wouldn't have dared to leave Si Kong's place so easily. However, things went well. Kuang Tianjing is finished." When Duan Ling Tian finished speaking, a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. Kuang Tianjing had almost killed him back in the Linghu clan. If it wasn't for Linghu Renjia activating the Linghu clan's clan protecting Grand Array, Kuang Tianjing would have died back then. If he had the chance, he would not let this mortal enemy live for even a moment. "I told you you're not an impulsive person." Shui Haichuan nodded with a smile. "This time you managed to kill Kuang Tianjing and got rid of a big problem." However, suddenly Shui Haichuan's expression turned serious. "You mustn't be careless because of this. This time the sect made the decision to kill Kuang Tianjing's family and disciples. It can be considered as helping you eliminate the source of trouble. However, there's still one person who hasn't been executed. I'm sure you know who that person is even if I don't tell you," Shui Haichuan solemnly said. "The reason he didn't die is because his father-in-law is Vice Sect Master Shui Mingji. This time Kuang Tianjing risked his life to kill you in the sect. He definitely didn't do it willingly. Our Hidden Fog sect and the 10,000 Demon sect have been fighting for many years. I understand this Kuang Tianjing very well. Although he isn't someone who fears death, he absolutely won't treat his own life as a joke. And the 10,000 Demon sect isn't enough to force him to risk his life to kill you in the sect. There's only one person who can force him to take action. Shui Mingji." As Shui Haichuan said this, Duan Lingtian's expression turned solemn. In truth, he hadn't thought too deeply about this before. Even if Kuang Tianjing risked his life to kill him, he would only think that Kuang Tianjing wanted to kill him. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to grow. After all, if he grew, it was very likely that he would kill Kuang Tianjing and Kuang Tianjing's family and friends. But now, listening to Shui Haichuan's words, it was impossible for Kuang Tianjing to willingly kill him in the sect. I don't know much about this Vice Sect Master Shui Mingji, but I've heard of some of his deeds when he was young. This person's talent and perception aren't at the top, but he's a very scheming person. This time Kuang Tianjing died for nothing. He absolutely won't let this go. Even if you're in the sect, you must pay attention to your safety," Shui Haichuan said. Although Duan Ling Tian nodded on the surface, in his heart, he felt that even if Shui Mingji wanted to target him, he probably wouldn't be able to find a suitable person in a short time. He could force Kuang Tianjing to kill him because he and Kuang Tianjing were mortal enemies. Kuang Tianjing also knew this, so Kuang Tianjing was willing to give up his life. But who else would be willing to give up their lives so easily? Not to mention others, just take the 2 white dragon elders of the 1000 Demon sect as an example. Neither of them would risk their lives to attack him in the sect. This was because he didn't have any deep hatred for those 2 people. End of chapter. Chapter 3883. Everyone in Tunglung province knew that the Tianlong clan and Tai sect had started the War of the Emperors. Of course, those who did not know were either too weak or had been in closed-door cultivation recently. Once the War of the Emperors began, countless god kings and god emperors died. This was a great burden for the Tianlong clan and Tai sect. Under such circumstances, the two sects began to recruit god king and god emperor disciples. Their purpose was to let them participate in the War of the Emperors and share the burden of their sections. In fact, joining the Tianlong clan and Tai sect at this time was a very dangerous thing to do. It could be described as 9 out of 10 chances of survival. Because of this, there were far fewer people who were willing to join the Tianlong clan and Tai sect at this time. Of course, it was only fewer than other times, but not none. Some people who had been living a peaceful life for too long found it difficult to make a breakthrough in their cultivation. Coupled with the recent 1,000-year heavenly tribulation, in order to seek a breakthrough, would choose to join the Tianlong clan and Tai sect at this time and devote themselves to the War of the Emperors. For some god emperors of the Tianlong clan and Tai sect, the War of the Emperors was a very good opportunity to become a god emperor. And for many god kings and god emperors, was it not a very good opportunity to make a breakthrough? Some people's talent and comprehension were worse. Even if they had cultivation methods, they would encounter an extremely difficult bottleneck to surmount. And at this time, if they were faced with a life and death crisis, it was very likely that they would be able to smoothly make a breakthrough on the line between life and death, profiting from a disaster. There were many similar examples. Many people, for this reason, even entered dangerous places where there was a 9 out of 10 chance of survival, fought powerful monsters, and even left behind by psychologically twisted experts. They either died or made a breakthrough. And compared to those dangerous places, although the War of the Emperors between the Tianlong clan and Tai sect had the same effect, it was not as dangerous. In addition, in the Tianlong clan and Tai sect, if you died in the War of the Emperors, you would be treated as a martyr, and your family would be taken care of by the sect. If you didn't die, you could use your battle merits to exchange for some treasures you wanted. In comparison, god kings and god emperors who wanted to make a breakthrough in the War of the Emperors would be more willing to join the Tianlong clan or Tai sect at this time. Because of the critical situation in the War of the Emperors, the disciples of the two sects had been fighting inside, without rest. Therefore, at this time, the Tianlong clan and Tai sect had simplified the War of the Gods. Since the start of the War of the Emperors, the Heavenly Dragon sect had set up a place to register disciples outside of the sect's encampment, in the void beyond the 9 mountain ranges. There was a small floating island with some tables and chairs on it. The Sky Dragon sect's elder, who was in charge of recruiting disciples, was sitting on top of it. 3 elders, the elders, and 3 Tai sect elders. Elders were sect, the elders. In fact, these elders' duties were not only to recruit disciples for the Heavenly Dragon sect, they were also in charge of patrolling the surrounding area. And part-time recruitment. Because there weren't many people coming to join the Tianlong clan at this time, there weren't many sect elders left. There was also a White Dragon elder and 7 inner sect elders patrolling the area. Take this identity token and go in directly. Someone will receive you. A young man in blue received an identity token from an inner elder of the Sky Dragon sect. When he heard the elder's words, he couldn't help but glance at the Sky Dragon sect's camp. Elder, I can go in directly? I heard that the Tianlong clan sect guarding array is very powerful. Once the killing array is activated, even god emperors will die. The young man in blue said with fear. I'm just a high-level god king. Won't I be killed if I go in rashly? Upon hearing his words, Elder Bai Long and the other 2 inner sect elders couldn't help but laugh. The face of the inner sect elder who gave him the token darkened as he said, Kid, what do you think the identity token I gave you is for? If you go in with this identity token, you won't be targeted by the sect guarding array. Someone will take you to the Emperor Battle sect's cultivation grounds because you have this identity token. So that's how it is. The young man in blue understood. Elder, what is the Emperor Battle sect's cultivation grounds? With my cultivation, it shouldn't be difficult to become an inner sect disciple, right? Shouldn't I be going to your sect's inner sect disciples training grounds? If you want to go to the inner sect cultivation grounds, you'll have to come out of the Emperor Battle realm alive. The inner sect elder said faintly, once the war is over, as long as you are willing to stay in the Heavenly Dragon sect, we will treat you like any other disciple and arrange a place for you. Now that you've joined the Tianlong clan, you can only go to the Emperor Battle sect's cultivation grounds. This is to prevent people with ulterior motives from coming to the Tianlong clan and causing trouble. The Emperor Battle Sect's cultivation grounds was an area specially designated by the Tianlong clan after the Emperor Battle began. It was for the godly monarch and divine sovereign disciples who joined the Tianlong clan during the Emperor Battle to stay and cultivate. That area was close to the canyon where the entrance to the Emperor Battle realm was located. It was only a mountain away. The godly monarch and divine sovereign disciples could only move around that area and the canyon where the entrance to the Emperor Battle realm was located. They were not allowed to go anywhere else. If they were found to have gone somewhere else, they would be executed. There was a golden dragon elder personally overseeing the area. I see. The young man in blue was enlightened when he heard this. He smiled and said, "The Tianlong clan is indeed a good clan. They're so considerate. This will stop those who want to take advantage of us." Take advantage of us? The inner sect elder sneered. If anyone dares to take advantage of us at this time, the same time next year will be the anniversary of their death. All right, you can go now. Remember, don't keep the identity token in your spatial ring. It's best if you keep it in your hand. Of course, if you think it's too cumbersome, you can hang it on your waist. The young man in blue did not stay any longer under the inner sect elder's urging. He flew directly to the Tianlong temple. Shortly after he entered the Tianlong temple, an inner sect deacon came forward and led him to the Emperor Battle Sect's cultivation grounds near the entrance to the Tianlong temple's cultivation grounds. Emperor Battle Realm, I've heard so much about you. I hope you won't disappoint me. If I can break through and become a divine emperor before the Emperor Battle ends, I'll be the first divine emperor under the age of 10,000 in the history of the clan. The young man in blue was filled with anticipation as he followed the inner sect deacon of the Tianlong clan to the Emperor Battle Sect's cultivation grounds. That kid sure is a chatterbox. It's so quiet now that he's gone. Another inner sect elder shook his head with a smile on his face. That's right. He's the only one who has come to join the sect in the past 2 days. Elder Bai Long nodded in agreement. As soon as White Dragon Elder nodded, the old man with the Black Dragon Elder's identity token on his waist suddenly stood up. Sensing the Black Dragon Elder's actions, the White Dragon Elder and the remaining inner sect elders all stood up one after another. In the next moment, while the 3 inner sect elders were at a loss, Elder Bai Long seemed to have noticed something as well. He raised his head abruptly and looked at the distant horizon. As for Elder Black Dragon, he had already looked in that direction. Someone's there? The 3 inner sect elders looked into the distance, but they did not see anything. It was only when the clouds in the distance stirred that their eyes narrowed slightly. It's only now that we've noticed it. Is it a divine emperor? Even if it's a lesser divine emperor, we should have noticed it long ago. Could it be that it's not a lesser divine emperor? While the 3 inner sect elders were whispering to each other, Elder Bai Long said, "It's a medium divine emperor." A medium divine emperor? Elder Bai Long looked solemn when he heard Elder Bai Long's words. The 3 inner sect elders' eyes lit up. A medium divine emperor is going to join the sect at this time? That's good news. Since the start of the War of the Emperors until now, there have only been 5 lower divine emperors. This is the first medium divine emperor. As the 3 inner sect elders' eyes lit up, a figure flew over from afar and landed on the floating island in the blink of an eye. It was a tall and sturdy young man. He wore a black robe and had a cold expression on his face. He carried a divine weapon on his back. Judging from the aura it gave off, it was obviously a superior divine sword. After the black-robed young man landed, he looked at Elder Bai Long and said calmly, "I want to join the Tianlong clan and participate in the War of the Emperors." "Welcome." Elder Bai Long stared at the black-robed young man for a while, then a smile appeared on his skinny face. At the same time, he personally helped him with the formalities. A medium divine emperor, even if he had bad intentions, couldn't cause any trouble in the Tianlong clan. Besides, these people were usually isolated in the War of the Emperors. They couldn't do anything except help the Tianlong clan in the War of the Emperors. Moreover, if they dared to cause trouble in the War of the Gods, they were doomed to die. The black-robed young man was a man of few words. Even when Elder Bai Long asked for his name, he only replied coldly, "Yanjia." After the black-robed young man entered the Sky Dragon sect's encampment with his identity token, the White Dragon Elder, who was standing not far from the Black Dragon Elder, shook his head as he watched the black-robed young man leave. How reclusive. However, judging from his aura, he's still some distance away from becoming a superior divine emperor. He shouldn't be here to break through. As Elder White Dragon spoke, he looked puzzled. Elder Bai Long said indifferently, everyone has their own ambitions. Those lower divine emperors who came before didn't all come to break through to the medium divine emperor realm. Chapter 3884. Although the Tianlong clan was wantonly recruiting, they weren't brainless. After all, everyone was worried that someone would come in and cause trouble. When the first few low-level god emperors joined the Tianlong clan would send an inner sect elder to lead them to the cultivation grounds of the emperor battle sect. One by one. The purpose was to prevent them from causing trouble on the way to the cultivation grounds of the emperor battle sect. As for the cultivation grounds of the emperor battle sect, the Golden Dragon Elder would be there. If anyone dared to cause trouble, the Golden Dragon Elder would be the first to notice. And now, a mid-level god emperor named Yanzhe had just entered the Tianlong temple with his identity token when a white dragon elder appeared and led him to the cultivation grounds of the emperor battle sect. What a coincidence. And now, the one who had received the order to lead Yanzhe was none other than Dongfang Yannian. Dongfang Yannian had just returned from outside 2 days ago. As soon as he returned, he wanted to find Shui Haichuan and Duan Lingtian and hear them talk about the big things they had done recently. Although Dongfang Yannian had been outside for the past year, he had heard a lot about the things that had happened in the sect. For example, Shui Haichuan had entered the battlefield of the Emperor Battle Realm and killed an Earth Nether Elder of the Greater One sect. He had become the first person in the Tianlong clan to kill an Earth Nether Elder of the Greater One sect since the start of the Emperor Battle Realm. He was also the only one who had killed an Earth Nether Elder of the Greater One sect. Another example was that Duan Lingtian had been ambushed by the inner sect elder Kuang Tianjing. At that time, Duan Lingtian had been alone. Kuang Tianjing had attacked 3 times but still failed. And the reason for this was that Duan Lingtian had broken through and become a god emperor. Although he was only a low-level god emperor, it was said that his strength was comparable to a mid-level god emperor. I only went out for a trip and such a big thing happened in the sect? Little Tian became a god emperor, and Shui Haichuan killed an Earth Nether Elder of the Greater One sect the first time he entered the battlefield of the Emperor Battle Realm? When Dongfang Yannian returned to the sect, he wanted to find Duan Lingtian and Shui Haichuan and hear them tell him the details. And before he returned to the sect, he sent a message to confirm that they were both in the sect and had not entered Emperor Battle Realm. However, before he returned to the sect, he received another piece of news from somewhere else. The first time Duan Lingtian entered the Emperor Battle Realm, he had killed 2 inner sect elders from the Taiyi sect. Moreover, the 2 inner sect elders had killed each other, causing both of them to be severely injured. Duan Lingtian had become the Oriole. Why I Dongfang Yannian? Thinking about how he had only killed a lower god emperor from the Supreme Yi sect when he entered the battlefield of the god emperors in the Emperor Battle Plain, he couldn't help but feel a sense of injustice. Why was his luck so bad? Moreover, that lower god emperor of the Greater One sect had been with him and his wife. His wife was too lazy to fight and gave him the opportunity. Hello, I am Elder White Dragon of the Tianlong clan, Dongfang Yannian. When Dongfang Yannian returned to the sect, he received a message from his superior, the Black Dragon Elder, telling him to bring a person to the cultivation grounds of the Emperor Battle sect. The reason he was sent was because the Black Dragon Elder had not stopped communicating with him when he received a message from the Black Dragon Elder outside who was in charge of recruiting people. So, he directly arranged for Dongfang Yannian, who was still communicating with him and had already returned to the Tianlong clan. Faced with Dongfang Yannian's friendly greeting, the black-robed, cold-looking young man indifferently swept his gaze over Dongfang Yannian's waist. When he saw the lifelike white dragon, his pupils shrank, but they soon relaxed. In the next moment he said indifferently, Yanzhe. I'll bring you to the cultivation grounds of the Emperor Battle sect. Follow me. Dongfang Yannian did not mind the other party's indifference. As a mid-god emperor, it was normal for him to be somewhat arrogant. Moreover, from the other party's attitude, it was clear that he was not arrogant. Instead he was used to it. The young man did not respond. However, when Dongfang Yannian started moving, he followed closely behind him. On the way, Dongfang Yannian asked with a smile, Brother Yanzhe, I feel that you are still quite a distance away from becoming a high god emperor. Did you join the Tianlong clan and enter the Emperor Battle Plain to train yourself? Yanzhe did not respond to Dongfang Yannian's question at first. Just as Dongfang Yannian frowned slightly, feeling that this mid-god emperor was too arrogant, the other party unhurriedly replied with the same indifferent tone, to kill the people of the Greater One sect. Brother, you have enmity with the Greater One sect? Dongfang Yanyan's eyes lit up. In the beginning he was still worried about this middle-level God Emperor. Since this middle-level God Emperor wasn't here to break through his bottleneck, then he might not necessarily fight to the death with the Supreme E sect. However, now that he heard that the other party had enmity with the Greater One sect, he was immediately overjoyed. Although Dongfang Yanyan was only a white dragon elder of the Tianlong clan, he felt a sense of belonging to the Tianlong clan. From the bottom of his heart, he hoped that the Tianlong clan would become better and better. He was prepared to do his best in this emperor battle. If he could kill as many divine emperors of the Greater One sect as possible, he would kill as many as he could to share the pressure of the other divine emperors. Yes. Yanjia nodded. It was precisely because he knew that Yanjia had enmity with the Greater One sect that Dongfang Yanyan did not have any prejudice against him, even though Yanjia did not like to talk much and did not answer any of his questions. Elder Blue, I've just returned and you're already telling me to go pick someone up. Aren't you being too disrespectful? There was a black dragon elder overseeing the cultivation grounds of the Emperor Battle sect. As for the golden dragon elder overseeing this place, he was also overseeing the entrance to the Emperor Battle Plain. The Black Dragon Elder on duty right now was the Black Dragon Elder above Dongfang Yanyan, Blue Feather Mountain. He was also the host of the Hidden Dragon competition when Duanling Tian had joined the Tianlong clan. At the same time, he was also the person in charge of the recruitment of the Tianlong clan. Isn't it because I just happened to be contacting you, and you just happened to return to the sect, so I wanted you to come along? Blue Feather Mountain shook his head and smiled. Kid, you can only blame yourself for returning at the perfect time. Hearing that, Dongfang Yanyan could not help but roll his eyes. Afterwards he glanced behind him and said, Elder Blue, I've brought him here. I'll be leaving first. With that, before Blue Feather Mountain could reply, Dongfang Yanyan looked at the black-robed young man and smiled. Yanjia, I hope to hear the news of you killing the people of the Greater One sect on the battlefield of God Kings soon. Under Yanjia's indifferent gaze and nod, Dongfang Yanyan left with a flash. After leaving the cultivation grounds of the Emperor Battle sect, Dongfang Yanyan directly went to Shui Haichuan's residence. Duanling Tian was there as well. There, he could directly see the two people he wanted to see the most. Of course, during this process, Dongfang Yanyan did not forget to send a message to his wife. I've returned to the sect. There's something I need to talk to Little Tian and Shui Haichuan about. Dongfang Yanyan emphasized the two words Little Tian. Indeed, his wife, Ouyang Xueli, replied very straightforwardly, got it. Don't bully Little Tian. Don't forget how my veins of heaven recovered in such a short period of time. Hearing his wife's words, Dongfang Yanyan was about to cry. Although it was all thanks to Duanling Tian's Supreme God Pill, he had also exchanged for it with contribution points. Of course, Dongfang Yanyan did not dare to say that to his wife. When Dongfang Yanyan arrived, Duanling Tian and Shui Haichuan were already waiting for him in the residence's front courtyard. Before Dongfang Yanyan arrived, he had already sent them a message. What? You've already reported to sister-in-law after returning? Seeing Dongfang Yanyan, Shui Haichuan said with a mocking smile. Duanling Tian was startled. Then he looked at Dongfang Yanyan in surprise. He truly could not tell that his big brother Yanyan was a henpecked person. Little Tian, don't listen to his nonsense. Dongfang Yanyan spat at Shui Haichuan. Then he smiled and said to Duanling Tian, my position in our family is high and mighty. If I say one, your sister-in-law wouldn't dare to say two. Although Dongfang Yanyan was explaining himself, Duanling Tian's current gaze clearly showed that he did not believe him. Seeing this, although Dongfang Yanyan felt guilty, he still had an arrogant expression on his face. Originally, I had just returned and was going to bring you all here. However, as soon as I arrived, I was called by an elder of Blue Feather Mountain to do something. Shui Haichuan smiled. As soon as you returned, an elder of Blue Feather Mountain called you to do something? When did an elder of Blue Feather Mountain become so inconsiderate of his subordinates? Don't mention it, Dongfang Yanyan snapped. Dongfang Yanyan said in annoyance, I just happened to arrive at the sect and was communicating with Blue Feather Mountain's elder. Then Blue Feather Mountain's elder received a message from the elder in charge of recruitment. Then he changed the topic and told me to go pick someone up. He told you to personally go pick someone up? At this moment, the smile on Shui Haichuan's face also began to disappear. His gaze also became serious. You mean, that person is a mid-divine emperor? In the current situation, only mid-divine emperors could be personally picked up by an elder of the White Dragon clan right after entering the sect. For example, the low divine emperors who had joined the Tianlong clan after the War of Emperors had only been picked up by inner sect elders. It was impossible for an elder of the White Dragon clan to pick them up. Mid-divine emperor? Hearing this, Duan Lingtian also looked at Dongfang Yannian. It's a mid-divine emperor. Dongfang Yannian nodded. A cold guy who doesn't like to talk. However, seeing that he views the people of Greater One sect as his mortal enemy, I won't bicker with him. Almost at the same time as Dongfang Yannian finished speaking, he seemed to have sensed something. His expression suddenly froze. What's wrong? Shui Haichuan and Duan Lingtian looked at Dongfang Yannian. Dongfang Yannian glanced at the two of them and said with a strange expression, I just received a message. After that cold guy, another mid-divine emperor joined the sect. From the beginning of the War of Emperors until now, no mid-divine emperor had joined the Tianlong clan. But today, in a single day, 2 mid-divine emperors had joined in succession. Chapter 3885. 2 middle divine emperors joined on the same day? Duan Lingtian was also surprised. Middle divine emperors were not cabbages that could be found anywhere. In the Tianlong clan, even the weakest middle divine emperor was an inner sect elder. At this level of cultivation, they either had extraordinary talent or extraordinary strength. Without sufficient strength, how could they resist the once-in-a-thousand-years heavenly tribulation? Before becoming a divine king, cultivation was not equal to strength. After becoming a divine king, due to the existence of the once-in-a-thousand-years heavenly tribulation, the further one cultivated, the greater the pressure one would have to face. Among the divine kings, there were many people of varying strength, but among the divine emperors, there were not many of them. Perhaps they know each other and agreed to join the clan together. Shui Haichuan said, otherwise how could there be such a coincidence? Now, it had been nearly 10 years since the start of the War of Emperors. According to 10 years there were 365 days in a year, so 10 years was 3,650 days. In the past 3,000 days, not even a single middle divine emperor had joined the Tianlong clan. But now, in a single day, 2 middle divine emperors had joined the Tianlong clan? They should know each other, but they didn't come together. One came before the other. Duan Lingtian said. At the same time, Dongfang Yannian, who had just received a follow-up message, nodded in a timely manner. They should be together. The one who came later is similar to the one who came before. They both have cold faces. It's said that birds of a feather flock together. But I really don't understand how this kind of cold-faced person could mix with the other party. Dongfang Yannian shook his head in bewilderment. Perhaps they have their own way of communicating. Duan Lingtian said with a smile. That's the only explanation. Shui Haichuan nodded in agreement. Alright, let's not talk about them. At this time, Dongfang Yannian also remembered why he had come to find Duan Lingtian and Shui Haichuan. He hurriedly changed the topic and said, You two hurry up and tell me what, Major, you did recently. Little Tian, you tell me first. How did you predict that Kuang Tianzheng would attack you and set him up? Just as Duan Lingtian was answering Dongfang Yannian's questions one after another, somewhere in the Tianlong clan in a secluded valley, there was a sudden shout. 2 idiots. I didn't ask them to enter the sect separately on the same day. Instead, I asked them to enter the sect separately after a period of time. On the other hand, although they came from different sects, they still arrived on the same day. 2 middle-level godly emperors, and both of them have coffin faces. Who would have thought that they were together? Now, in a clean courtyard in the valley, a middle-aged man with an ugly expression was cursing loudly. Looking at his appearance, he seemed to have completely lost his composure. Nearby. At this moment, the young woman standing at the side said, They are men of sacrifice. It's normal that they don't know how to be flexible. You can tell the people who can command them not to act too deliberately. I just finished talking to them. After being comforted by the woman, the middle-aged man took a deep breath and his mood improved a lot. It's best if those 2 men of sacrifice don't act as if they don't know each other. Right now, anyone would be able to guess that they're together. If they deliberately act as if they don't know each other, it'll be even more suspicious. The woman said again. Hearing the woman's words, a gratified expression appeared on the middle-aged man's face. Then he nodded and said, I've already told them all this. Father. Suddenly, the woman seemed to have thought of something. She looked at the middle-aged man and said hesitantly, "You really can't tell Brother Ken about this? What's the point of telling him now?" The middle-aged man asked in return, "Could it be that he's going to step forward and help those 2 men of sacrifice lure Duan Lingtian over? Wouldn't that be the same as implicating himself? The fewer people who know about the identities of those 2 men of sacrifice, the better. Father, it's not that you don't trust him. It's just that you can't be careless about this matter." At this point, the middle-aged man paused for a moment before he added, "It's not a problem if you really want to tell him. However, you'll have to wait until the 2 men of sacrifice succeed in their mission and kill Duan Lingtian. At that time you can tell him. However, even then you still have to remind him not to tell anyone about this matter, no matter how close he is. If he's not careful about this matter, he might consign me to eternal damnation. Once I fall from power, my enemies in the sect will definitely not let the 2 of you off." As he finished speaking, the middle-aged man's expression became more and more solemn. The woman's expression changed. Then she solemnly promised, "Father, don't worry. I won't tell even Brother Ken about this matter. In the Tianlong clan only you and I know." Hearing the woman's words, the middle-aged man finally heaved a sigh of relief. A smile appeared on his lips. "That's for the best. I knew a girl like you wouldn't be so unreasonable." The woman sighed in relief before she asked, "Father, the 2 men of sacrifice can only stay in the cultivation place of the Emperor Battle sect. If Duan Lingtian doesn't go there, I'm afraid they won't have a chance to make a move." "There's no way they won't have a chance." The middle-aged man smiled confidently. "Unless Duan Lingtian doesn't go to the Emperor Battle realm, there's no way they won't have a chance. As far as I know, Duan Lingtian frequently enters and exits the Emperor Battle realm. Ever since he entered when he was a God King, he has never entered again. However, after he broke through to the God King realm, he entered twice and exited twice. The second time he entered, he merely used the battle merit Shui Haichuan gave him to exchange for some items." If Duan Lingtian heard the middle-aged man's words, he would definitely be shocked by the middle-aged man's attention to him. The middle-aged man even knew he had recently entered the Emperor Battle realm and exchanged battle merit points for items from the Tianlong clan. "I don't believe someone like him won't enter the Emperor Battle realm again. Once he's prepared to enter the Emperor Battle realm, he'll die before he even enters." The middle-aged man spoke with great confidence. "But..." The woman frowned slightly as she said, "There's a golden dragon elder guarding the entrance of the Emperor Battle realm. Moreover, there's a black dragon elder guarding the cultivation place of the Emperor Battle sect as well. With the golden dragon elder and the black dragon elder around, do you think they'll have enough time to kill Duan Lingtian? Someone will distract them before they make a move." The middle-aged man smiled. The middle-aged man smiled and said, "This time I bought the lives of these 2 middle god emperors. They also gave me 3 other death warriors, 2 middle god kings and 1 high god king. Before they make their move on Duan Lingtian, the 3 god king sacrificial warriors will attack the other disciples of the Heavenly Dragon sect to distract the Golden Dragon Elder and the Black Dragon Elder. As long as the Elder Golden Dragon and Elder Black Dragon are distracted, the 2 of them will have enough time to attack Duan Lingtian. In that sort of situation, the Elder Black Dragon will need at least 3 breaths of time to react. Although the Elder Golden Dragon is stronger than the Elder Black Dragon, he'll need at least 2 breaths of time to react. By the time they make their move, they'll probably need another breath of time. So, as long as the 2 God King Deathsworn keep their eyes on Duan Lingtian, they'll have at least 3 breaths of time to attack Duan Lingtian. Could it be that 3 breaths of time isn't enough for them to kill Duan Lingtian?" After Dongfang Yannian returned, Duan Lingtian didn't return to Guardian Sikong's cultivation grounds. He stayed with Shui Haichuan. The current him was no longer the past him who needed Shui Haichuan and Guardian Sikong's protection. He was already a lower god emperor, and had once fled for his life from the desperate inner sect elder Kuang Tianjin. In the Tianlong clan, unless 2 or more inner sect elders joined hands, or if an existence at the level of a white dragon elder or above personally acted, there was no chance of killing him. The 10,000 demon sect behind Kuang Tianjin did have 2 white dragon elders, but they couldn't possibly attack Duan Lingtian within the sect. Because once they did, only death would await them. They didn't dare to joke around with their lives. For example, one of the white dragon elders, Lu Yin, might be willing to exchange his life for the life of his son's killer, Shui Haishan, but it was impossible for him to exchange his life for Duan Lingtian's. Duan Lingtian didn't have a grudge against him for killing his son. As for Kuang Tianjing, Luyin didn't care if he lived or died. In fact, when Kuang Tianjing was executed by the sect this time, even his family and disciples were implicated. From beginning to end, the 10,000 demon sect didn't say a word, let alone plead for his family and disciples. What a joke. If they really wanted to plead, it wouldn't be their turn. Right now, Kuang Tianjing's greatest backer in the Tianlong clan wasn't the 10,000 demon sect, but vice sect master Shui Mingji. Shui Mingji couldn't even protect Kuang Tianjing's family and disciples. Even if they spoke up, they couldn't change the outcome. No one was willing to do such a thankless task. The cultivation of a lower god emperor is too slow. Even with the help of a divine pill, it's impossible to break through in a short period of time. It's 10 times harder to break through from a higher god king to a lower god emperor. In Shui Haichuan's residence, Duan Lingtian was still living in the same room as before. He had just woken up from his cultivation and he sighed. Although he had noticed this long ago, he had taken so many divine pills this time. Even with the powerful medicinal effects, his cultivation still hadn't improved by much. It was a blow to him. Since it's difficult to break through, I'll spend more time on the law of space. With the supreme divinity, I can comprehend the law of space with just a nap. In addition, I bought a floating image pearl in the Emperor Battle Realm in Ping City that recorded the battles between experts who were proficient in the law of space. With the floating image pearls in there, I'll be able to deduce many things from one instance. My comprehension of the law of space will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. When he thought of this, Duan Lingtian no longer bothered about the slow progress of his cultivation. Instead, he shifted his attention to the law of space. Based on the current situation, it was more cost-effective to spend more time on the law of space. Chapter 3886. In the solitary destructive heaven in the Devata realm. In the heavenly palace. I'm back. A young man in a long green robe stood in the air. He had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. He was extraordinarily handsome. His expression was calm as he looked down at the familiar place in front of him. His face trembled. Come back, all of you. The green-clad young man looked around before he sent out a series of voice transmissions to every corner of the solitary destructive heaven. All of a sudden, powerful figures shot up into the sky from all over the solitary destructive heaven and headed for the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Lord Heavenly Emperor is back. Lord Heavenly Emperor is calling for us to return to the Heavenly Palace. It's Lord Heavenly Emperor. It's time for the Heavenly Emperor puppets supported by the Tidal Temple to scram. Hearty laughter resounded in every corner of solitary destructive heaven. Many of the people who were not part of the situation became excited after a moment of contemplation. This was especially true for the sword celestials in the solitary destructive heaven. Lord Heavenly Emperor? Could the Lord Heavenly Emperor from his mouth be that Wind Heavenly Emperor of the past? It's obvious that he's referring to the Wind Heavenly Emperor. Back then, the Wind Heavenly Emperor disappeared without a trace. Even the powerhouses in the Heavenly Palace left as well. It was as though the Wind Heavenly Emperor had moved to another location. Then, the Tidal Temple appointed a titled Celestial Emperor as the new Heavenly Emperor of the solitary destructive heaven. Currently, the Heavenly Emperor Palace is like the backyard of the Tidal Temple's sub-palace. It's said that the new Heavenly Emperor of the solitary destructive heaven has to bow to the Hall Master of the Tidal Temple. He's a disgrace to the solitary destructive heaven. That's right. When the Wind Heavenly Emperor was still around, the Hall Master of the Tidal Temple sub-palace wouldn't dare to be so presumptuous. A commotion broke out in the solitary destructive heaven. It did not take long for news of the Heavenly Emperor of the solitary destructive heaven to spread to the Heavenly Palace of the solitary destructive heaven. The current Heavenly Emperor of the solitary destructive heaven was merely a titled Celestial Emperor in the Tidal Temple. He was not even a match for some of the more powerful titled Celestial Emperors, let alone the former Heavenly Emperor of the solitary destructive heaven, Feng Qingyang. Go and inform the Palace Master of this matter. Since that Feng Qingyang has returned, he will definitely not let this matter rest. It's better for me to escape. I remember when Feng Qingyang was lost in the Azura Hell, one of the 7 deadliest places in the Devata realms, someone had taken over his place and become the new Heavenly Emperor of the solitary destructive heaven. When Feng Qingyang returned, he killed that person. If I don't leave now, I'm afraid I won't be able to escape death when Feng Qingyang returns. I'm not interested in the Heavenly Emperor of the solitary destructive heaven. It's better for him to stay in the realm where the tidal temple is located. The new heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven muttered to himself as he made his way to a transporting formation in the heavenly palace of the solitary destructive heaven. The teleportation formation led to the tidal temple's solitary destructive heaven sub-temple. When he arrived at the vice hall, he immediately went to look for the vice hall master and asked him to bring him to the main hall to report the matter of the tidal temple's main hall master. Since Feng Qingyang has returned, I'm afraid the palace master will personally come. The vice hall master had received the news, so he was not surprised when he saw the new heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven. He quickly brought the new heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven to the main hall through the transporting formation. Feng Qingyang has returned? It did not take long before Wu Hongqing, the vice hall master of the main hall of the tidal temple, received the news. His expression turned grim as he thought to himself, since he dares to return, it means he's confident he can defeat Mi Xian. He must have broken through to the intermediate God King stage at the very least. I'm afraid I might not be a match for him now. Wu Hongqing's eyes glinted as he felt the pressure on him increase. Back then, Mi Xian was so powerful that Feng Qingyang had hidden in the Azure Hell when he realized he could not defeat Mi Xian. Both Wu Hongqing and Mi Xian were helpless against him. At that time, Wu Hongqing was certain Feng Qingyang would return one day. The reason Wu Hongqing sent someone to the solitary destructive heaven to become the new heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven was not because he cared about the position of heavenly emperor. This way, if Feng Qingyang returned, Wu Hongqing would be the first to know. Just like now. Both of you may return. Wu Hongqing looked at the vice hall master of the solitary destructive heaven and the new heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven before he said, since Feng Qingyang has returned, return the position of heavenly emperor to him. At the same time, tell him the tidal temple has no intention of making an enemy out of him. When they heard Wu Hongqing's words, the expressions of the two seated below, which had changed when they heard Wu Hongqing telling them to return, finally calmed down. If they did not seek peace, they would most likely die in Feng Qingyang's hands if they returned. Now that they heard the words of the vice hall master of the tidal temple, they felt much more at ease. In their opinion, since the tidal temple wanted peace, there was no way Feng Qingyang would reject them. In their opinion, the tidal temple was like the heavens above all Devata realms. Even if Feng Qingyang was a god, it would not change this fact. In the heavenly palace of the solitary destructive heaven, a young man dressed in a green robe was sitting in the air. His eyes were tightly shut. It was hard to tell if he was cultivating or merely resting. His aura was so quiet that even the tidal temple would not be able to detect it. Swoosh. At this moment, a figure appeared near the young man. It was a middle-aged man dressed in a sturdy robe. As soon as the middle-aged man appeared, he bowed at the young man. Greetings, Lord Heavenly Emperor. A hint of excitement could be seen in the middle-aged man's eyes. Meng Luo. At the same time, the young man opened his eyes and looked at the middle-aged man with a smile on his face. After scanning the middle-aged man with his divine consciousness, his eyes lit up. It seems like you haven't been slacking off all these years. Meng Luo smiled sheepishly. This little improvement is nothing compared to you, Lord Heavenly Emperor. However, Meng Luo is confident that I can help your majesty kill the fake celestial emperor who has taken over the nest. Meng Luo's eyes were brimming with killing intent as he spoke. He's just a puppet supported by the tidal temple. There's no need to worry about him. The young man, Feng Qingyang, the former heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven, said nonchalantly with a faint smile on his face. Without waiting for Meng Luo's reply, he looked to his left. A fiery red figure was flying toward him at breakneck speed. Around this fiery red figure, there seemed to be the illusory image of a flying bird. It seemed to cover the sky, and its aura was like a rainbow. It emitted a scorching aura that swept across the sky like a raging inferno. Swoosh. A few moments later, the figure retracted its flames. It was an old man dressed in a fiery red robe. As soon as the old man arrived, he bowed respectfully at Feng Qingyang. Greetings, Lord Palace Master. Lord Palace Master was how the old man addressed Feng Qingyang. Feng Qingyang was the former heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven. He was also the palace master of the heavenly palace of the solitary destructive heaven. Hualao. Feng Qingyang nodded at the old man with a smile on his face. Then his eyes glinted as he asked, "Where's little Tian?" I tried to contact him in the solitary destructive heaven, but he didn't respond. Upon hearing this, Hualao smiled wryly. I don't know. However, after the young palace master picked up his family and friends, he left the solitary destructive heaven and brought them to the mundane realm. He didn't tell me which mundane realm they were going to. However, based on his words, it seems like he won't be returning to his hometown. Hua Lao said. Upon hearing this, Feng Qingyang nodded. It's good to be careful. Since Duan Lingtian's soul pearl was still intact, Feng Qingyang was not worried at all. Moreover, he was certain his disciple, Duan Lingtun, would come looking for him as soon as he heard about his return to the heavenly palace of the solitary destructive heaven. There are some things I have to do before little Tian returns. There are some people and forces that will pose a threat to me if I don't do something about them. Feng Qingyang muttered to himself as his eyes glinted coldly. In an instant, whether it was Meng Luo or Elder Hua, they felt their bodies and souls trembling intensely as if a terrifying creature had suddenly appeared beside them. Lord Heavenly Emperor. After Feng Qingyang withdrew his aura, Meng Luo, who was on the verge of suffocating, gasped for air and asked excitedly, "What's your current cultivation base?" Hua Lao looked at Feng Qingyang excitedly. Feng Qingyang replied indifferently, "Killing the pavilion master of the main hall of the tidal temple is as easy as slaughtering a dog." Upon hearing Feng Qingyang's words, Meng Luo and Hua Lao could not help but gasp. It was one thing for a pavilion master of a tidal temple to be killed. However, the main palace master of the tidal temple was an absolute powerhouse. Some people even said he was the strongest powerhouse in the Devata realms. Even the gods in the Devata realms were no match for him. Lord Heavenly Emperor, the others will be here soon. After a long while, Meng Luo broke the silence and said, "Don't worry." At the same time, Meng Luo looked at Feng Qingyang in awe. It was a reverence that came from the bottom of his heart. All right. Feng Qingyang nodded slightly. Since they're here, let's wait for them to arrive before we return home. Return home. Upon hearing Feng Qingyang's words, Meng Luo and Hua Lao's eyes lit up. In the next few hours, more and more figures appeared in front of Feng Qingyang and bowed respectfully. Lord Heavenly Emperor. Lord Heavenly Emperor. When the group of heavenly emperors from the heavenly palace of the solitary destructive heaven arrived, Meng Luo and Hua Lao led them to the heavenly palace of the solitary destructive heaven. At this moment, some celestial emperors who were foolish enough to reprimand Meng Luo and the others were killed by Meng Luo's punch as soon as they finished speaking. Welcome back, Lord Heavenly Emperor. Welcome back, Lord Heavenly Emperor. Welcome back, Lord Heavenly Emperor. Meng Luo and the others cried out in unison. Their voices were as loud as thunder, and their auras soared into the sky. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.